official World Cup coverage on SJ Radio.
Okay, a little bit later than normal, apologies. 0-0 Mexico as they take on Germany, Group F. So let's go straight to it. And after that, we've got all the build-up to the 7 o'clock game, Brazil and Switzerland. So 0-0 at the moment, Germany and Mexico for Group F. Let's join 5 Live with the official commentary.
The World Cup, this is SJ Radio.
They get it, they want to break with pace. And again, as you say, they're playing a 4-2-3-1. The front four in particular, they will get up there with lots and lots of pace. Good belief about them as well.
Evening sunshine for those in the far corner of the stadium as the sun has appeared.
Have a laissez-faire attitude with the referee. I'm sure you've noticed that as well. A couple of tackles from the back, particularly from the Mexicans. He's letting it go.
Boateng's forward ball headed out of play on this near side by Jesus Gallardo, the left back who was tucked in. It'll be a German throw on the right hand side. 11 minutes played. Kimmich in field. Here is Mesut Ozil of Arsenal, just chips the ball in towards Kimmich. Kimmich brings the ball under control, tries to work it across. Werner was waiting inside the 6-yard area, didn't necessarily have the pace on the ball, and it was dived upon by the goalkeeper at his near post, Guillermo Ochoa.
A fabulous player, Kimmich. Remember the time he was moved into centre-back. He's been moved those positions, centre midfield a few times as well. He's stuck there at the moment at right back, but he's not happy with that because he wants to go and play right wing now and again. Absolutely all over the place and comfortable anywhere in the field.
9 assists in qualifying as well for Joshua Kimmich.
Not bad for a full-back, is it?
Certainly not. Saw him score an early goal in the Champions League semi-finalist. Bayern Munich came so close to knocking out Real Madrid in the Bernabeu. Mexico here, 0-0, 12 minutes played, have a throw-in on this near side as they play from right to left as we look. It's going to be Gallardo who's going to take it, looking for a little bit of an options. It's Vela who shows himself, loses out to Müller, but Müller's not happy that the decision has gone against him. It'll be a Mexico throw. Carlos Vela, of course, just the 3 Premier League starts during his time at Arsenal. Unfulfilled talent. 72 goals at Real Madrid, now plies his trade for Los Angeles in the MLS. Gallardo, the left back, gets away from one challenge, closed down by Müller. Out of play, it goes for a throw. A little nice bit of keepy-uppy there from Joachim Löw. Gallardo takes the throw back towards Vela on this left-hand side. Looked like he'd been pulled back there by Kimmich. Holds onto the ball though, Carlos Vela. He's done well. Another little flick forward towards Gallardo. Good football by Mexico. Very tight when they worked it away from this near side, the left. Certainly showing plenty of confidence because there wasn't much room to work within. Salcedo forward. Herrera. Germany, though, will dig the ball out. Germany having to battle at the moment against Mexico. The Iranian referee gives a free kick against Kroos. Free kick to Mexico, 0-0.
Well, do you know what? Fagani's not given many away here just now. He's letting this game flow incredibly. I quite like him. It's a really old style of refereeing. He's letting the game flow there. And that time, I would say 90% of referees at this competition would have given that free kick the other direction. But he's given it to Mexico because he feels the German threw himself to the ground there and then threw the ball away. He was lucky he didn't get a yellow card there, but he's been very, very strong so far, but also allowing a little bit of leeway. Enjoying it, he's allowing the game to flow.
They've got a high line for this free kick of Germany. They've got that line of white shirts outside the penalty area. At the moment, I would say there are 2 Mexican players just slightly in offside positions for this free kick, which is midway through the Germany half. It's going to be clipped in. We've seen that Ayala had made a run from the back. In it comes, downward header in the end was from Hector Moreno, the other central defender, and Neuer just had to move away to his right to make the save.
Well, great spot that you've seen it was him. I think you're absolutely spot on there. 2 or 3 players going in for it, but he was bravest, he wanted it most, and you've got to say the best chances so far are falling to the Mexican side. They've got real belief, they're not holding on here, they want to take part in this game, and I think they want to try and catch the Germans cold at the start of this tournament. And well, we all know, we talked about it before the game, the Germans have not had a good run up to this with their draws and their losses and a number of the friendlies they've played. Well, they're beginning to get pushed again today.
Mexico, Mexico, Mexico is the chant sweeping around the Luzhniki Stadium here on 5 Live. Ozil, Müller, short forward ball, back with the Arsenal player. Kroos again with Müller, drifts in. As he drifts in, he then creates the space for the run of Kimmich on this near side, the right. And there is Kimmich, right corner of the penalty area, unmarked. Time to swing over the cross, almost an own goal. It actually ran off the legs of Salcido and behind for a corner kick.
I mean, well done spotting the fact that he'd run off there and made the space for Kimmich. That was absolutely brilliant the way he made the space there. But the quality of that ball there in from the right-hand side, that's as good a cross as you can put in. It's absolutely undefendable. Brilliant ball. Unlucky not to score with it.
Corner kick to Germany. Kroos to take it, swings it in from the left-hand side. Hummels was up, comes out to Draxler, first-time shot. Ochoa, the goalkeeper, just goes a little bit on his toes. It was a comfortable save at around head height. He clears the ball away long. Neuer's had to come out. There's the sweeper keeper to volley the ball away right-footed. They weren't afraid to go long. All of a sudden the game stretched and open. Ozil, left-hand side for the World Cup holders Germany. 0-0, 5 live. Kroos is going to shoot from distance, takes a deflection, but it comes off a German player, which was Müller, and that will be a goal kick, and it can just settle down, Pat Nevin.
Do you know, quite often in the World Cups you see certain things that change in the game, something that hasn't happened for a while or something new. It's usually a reinvention. Well, there's a little bit of reinvention just happened there. Haven't seen it for quite some time. Mexico left 3 up for a corner. Nobody's doing that these days. Everybody's getting more players back. Some teams are leaving none back. They left 3 up against 3. And then when the goalkeeper, Ochoa, gets the ball, he just lumps it. That's why he lumped it, because he knew that they were one-on-one at the back there. Neuer was put under massive pressure because of that. So it's quite an unusual thing to see at a World Cup.
The Mexican supporters dancing in their seats here in the Luzhniki Stadium. 0-0. Ball headed forward by Herrera, cleared away by Germany. Comes off the head of Hector Moreno and goes out of play for a Germany throw on this right-hand side. I notice now that Juan Carlos Osorio, the Mexican coach, has dispensed with his jacket, his suit jacket now. He's just there with his white shirt and his dark trousers and his pumps, watching on from the edge of his technical area. Boateng is in possession for the holders. Kimmich on this near side, the right. Werner's made the run ahead of him. That'll be cut out by Gallardo. And Gallardo holds off Werner and then plays it forward. And here is Lozano. And Lozano's making a diagonal run. He's over the halfway line. Lozano's still going, slips it inside. Little bit of support. Hector Herrera gets from one challenge. Hector Herrera plays the ball in. Here is Hernandez. Hernandez turns, has his back to goal, looks for some support, and in the end is shielded away from goal. Just couldn't seem to get the shot away. Partially cleared. Herrera looks to win it back. It's a real good contest, Pat Nevin.
I'm really enjoying it. I mean, it's brilliant. And amazed that he didn't go down there. How many players in international football wouldn't go down there and look for the penalty kick, winning in and goal? And I have to applaud him for not doing so, because he tried to get the shot away. You're right, he couldn't get it completely under control. But Hernandez, I tell you what, he's sharp. He looks absolutely lightning today. Back to his very, very best at the moment.
3 goals in a World Cup in his career. 1 would equal the Mexican record set by Luis Hernandez. He's also 1 shy of a half a century of goals, Mexico's record goal scorer. But they've had a couple of promising breaks. Neuer has been forced into a couple of saves as well.
Was that a film throw? I'm trying to see what he did there. The referee's just changed his mind. He's heading it the other way now. It must have been a foul throw. Well done, referee. Spotting everything now.
It's going to be Gallardo who's going to take it. The left back is forward. Gets it to Carlos Vela. Back with Vela. Vela swings over the cross. Headed away by Hummels. Stretched right leg by Draxler. Checked by Salcido. Shot comes in from Salcido, but the referee's already blown his whistle. And that's going to be a free kick to Germany. But there's a good pace about the game as well. There
is a real liveliness. I think the Mexicans believe in their ability to keep up this pace for a long time there. And it was just a little bit unlucky there. I mean, it was Salcedo makes that tackle there. The referee's been letting a lot of those kind of 50-51s go. And had he let that one go, Salcedo had got himself into a pretty good position. But you're right, lively, upbeat, good tempo to it. And certainly the Mexicans are not negative.
Ball played over the top towards Werner. Werner's still there. Werner with a turn and shot low. Ochoa made the save, and Draxler saying, why didn't you play me in?
And you know, it's one of those ones that's hard to tell. 99% of centre forwards going to shoot from there, but it's the wrong ball. He has to pay off at Draxler. Draxler's got his space through goal. He's got no one between him and the goal. Check the goalkeeper. He's got to lay that onto Draxler, who could go and try and find either the near or the far corner. So it does go down as a mistake by Werner, except every centre forward in the world would disagree with me.
Well, certainly the goal striking union, because he is a goal-hungry striker, as his record would show. Not just for Germany, as we mentioned, and how prolific he is, but also for Leipzig. 21 goals in his 45 appearances for Leipzig the season that's just gone. It's 0-0, it's the World Cup, it's 5 Live. And don't forget, when the matches are on BBC TV, as is this one, you can press your red button and listen to the 5 Live commentary. But later on 5 Live, and your good old wireless, later from 7, Brazil against Switzerland, we can look forward to for our third commentary of the day. And then we'll turn our attentions to the final round of the US Open Golf that's live on 5 Live from 9, as a long ball downfield from Moreno. The central defender is gathered in by Manuel Neuer. It's an underarm throw out from Neuer. Here is Boateng. Boateng to Kimmich. He's got time on the ball here. Almost standing still, is eventually closed down by Lozano. Back towards Boateng once again. The pace has dropped now for the Germans in their white shirts and black shorts, playing from left to right. 21 minutes played. Ozil pops up on this right-hand side, 10 yards over the halfway line. Draxler's in a central area, as here is Kimmich. Muller's ahead of him, trying to link up, but Muller's played that ball too far ahead of Kimmich, cleared away by Gallardo, the left-back, only as far as Ozil, midway through the Mexican half, closed down by Hernandez. Last touch of the West Ham striker, that'll be a German throw. Mentioned earlier, Pat, that Muller drifts inside to create the space. Draxler's just done the same, cutting in from the left-hand side, and it created a real vacuum for Plattenhardt, the left-back, to go into on that far side if they wanted to switch play. Yeah,
they do it really well on the right, maybe slightly less so on the left-hand side.
Here is Ozil. Ozil to Draxler, just outside the penalty area. Draxler coming in on his right foot. Kroos takes over, edge of the area. Kroos with a shot. Comfortable save again by Ochoa, just moving down to his left.
Do you know, when you look forward to World Cup before it starts, you look forward to games that are going to be open, two sides attacking each other, both sides want to win, and how often that doesn't actually happen in games? Well, it's happening here, and it's going to keep on happening here. You cannot see at any point the Mexicans deciding to be negative either. So we've got a good start to the game and a good first quarter of the game. I suspect it will not stop. This could get better and better.
When we looked at our schedule and you saw that the opening game that we did together yesterday was Argentina against Iceland, and that certainly didn't disappoint as Mexico win the ball in the centre circle. Lozano coming forward now. Lozano in towards Hernandez. Hernandez gets the shot away from the edge of the area, left-footed, and it's cleared away by Kimmich, and now Kroos. And they were just a little bit careless.
But they've got it wrong again. He's going through that central midfield area. They've got 2 and 2. There's a pass through there. They keep on looking for Hernandez, even when he's the wrong ball. And that's twice now. They've tried to play Hernandez in. It doesn't matter, he's the best striker, he's the top man, he's the main man. If he's not the right ball, do not try and slip him in. And that's twice in a row they've made that mistake.
But when we saw the schedule, and we had with this double header of games in Moscow before we set off for St. Petersburg, I think really enjoyed the story yesterday, and obviously it lived up to the expectations. But this, with two sides rich in World Cup pedigree, is also living up to every expectation. 23 minutes in, it's 0-0, but it's a very watchable game. There's a free kick for Mexico midway through the Germany half. The holders, every outfield player is in the Germany half away to our left-hand side as we sit high up here in the media tribune of the Luzhniki Stadium.
By the way, you're very right about that high line. That German line there is a good 6 yards further up the field than you expect.
In it comes now. It's arcing its way in towards the penalty area. There must have been a foul on Hummels because our Iranian referee has given a free kick in favour of Germany. 24 minutes played.
I think Germany have spotted that Moreno's a real danger from free kicks and corners, because they're making sure they get close to him. On that occasion, well, he's actually fouled there, but is it Cadera who's got close to him? He's furious with Moreno, furious with the referee, but Moreno is one of those centre-backs. He will come up and he will attack absolutely everything. Actually, back in the studio we get Terry Butcher. Not dissimilar in Big Terry in many ways.
Plays for Real Sociedad in Spain, does Hector Moreno. Left-sided central defender with his partner Hugo Ayala, but doesn't take prisoners, it would seem. Just like the big man back in the studio alongside Mark Chapman. If you've seen Mark Chapman play football, he doesn't take prisoners either. 25 minutes played, 5 live. Kimmich to take the throw on the right-hand side. 0-0. Kimmich waits. Not much movement for him. Eventually he picks out Timo Werner. He's all over him like a rash, is Hector Moreno, and in fact unfairly so. Free kick to Germany, right-hand side, midway through the Mexico half.
Yeah, he's a bit pumped in, isn't he, at the moment, Moreno? I think the fact that he nearly scored that goal, he's been playing fairly well, but he loves a tackle. He loves to get involved with the striker that he's actually playing against, but the referee, after letting it go a little bit earlier on, is beginning to pull up a few more fouls, and the clever German players are actually getting them in dangerous areas now. And they've left 3 up again. This is really unusual what the Mexicans are doing, and extraordinarily brave too.
Free kick, Kroos to take it, right-footed. It's deep towards the far post. Hummels heads it back. Draxler rises, can't get the head away. Brave header away by Gallardo. Potential break. Herrera plays it early. Now they've got the 3 and they've got options as it goes down the middle. Lozano is trying to stay onside. He has stayed onside. Left corner of the penalty area. An exciting break by Mexico. Lozano still going. Edge of the area. Has some support. Layun right-footed over the top.
I love this tactic. I absolutely love this tactic. So few teams do it. It's something that you would have done as a boys' club player or as a school player. You'd lay 3 up against 3, and in the professional game, a lot of the time, it's seen as very, very naive. Well, it doesn't look naive just now because it's working extremely well. Every time the Mexicans get it, the keeper gets it, or any of the centre-backs get it from a free kick or a corner kick that they're defending, they just turn round, lump it long, as you say, 2 and 2, 3 and 3, they get half chances.
Khedira strokes it forward to Ozil. Kimmich high up the pitch, this right-hand side, this near side. He was looking for the run of Müller. Goes out of play off Gallardo and out for a throw that Kimmich wants to take. It's still 0-0. Been playing for 27 minutes on BBC Radio 5 Live. Müller quickly challenged, breaks forward to Ozil. Ozil tries to clip it in field. The green shirts will break up that attack. Wasn't intended for Carlos Vela, but he's got Hernandez streaking through the middle, tries to play a low ball, cut out by Hummels, who recovered well. Vela keeps the ball in play on this near side, the left. Has some support now with Andreas Guardado. Lozano. They are a threat on the counter-attack, Pat Nevin.
They are a phenomenal threat. There is a problem with the final pass. I think they've probably now got into positions on 4 occasions where the final ball should have been delivered to a centre-forward or an attacking player who would have been 1-on-1 with Neuer. And each time of those 4 occasions, they've failed to find that man. When it wasn't a particularly difficult ball, when the top-class players, you get the Neymars, the Messis, whatever, they will make that pass. At the moment, the Mexicans haven't got a player that can make that pass yet.
The 2 central defenders have split. It then in the end requires Ochoa to play the ball forward to Hector Herrera. He's happy to collect it. He actually turns in the edge of his penalty area. High press came from Germany, but they played it well there. Strong running by Herrera to the edge of the area. Was he fouled? And just talking before about Hector Moreno, as that free kick is taken and tough tackling. When he was actually at PSV, he was the player who went into the challenge against Luke Shaw 3 years ago. As Lozano here is for Mexico, tries to play it in low, Germany will clear, and it was that double leg break of Luke Shaw. Moreno was the player involved there. Here is Layun, low shot, edge of the area, saved by Neuer.
I mean, to be honest, that doesn't shock me now that you've told me that, and reminded me of that, because he is so up for it. He wants to tackle, he wants to get involved. He's a very, very strong player. He's not struck me as a dirty player in this game yet, just incredibly strong, but we'll keep an eye on that and see if he does lose his rag or push it too far over the top. But the game continues, and the more it goes on, the more dangerous Mexico look. I think they've played superbly well in this game. They've got fantastic belief about themselves, but it's just that last little bit of quality with that last pass that's let them down on a few occasions.
Thing is, Germany haven't had that one opportunity yet, have they really, where to see if they are clinical. Maybe the only one was where Werner shot and he could have played in Draxler earlier in the half. We're short of the half hour.
Yeah, there was one earlier one. Werner got kind of inside right position, it dragged it across the post, but as you correctly pointed out, it was far too acute an angle. But that's the 2 occasions they've been in there. Apart from that, you'd say 4 or 5, maybe 6 occasions the Mexicans have looked much more dangerous.
Draxler on that far side on this pleasant evening here in Moscow. BBC Radio 5 Live. Ozil waits, plays it short to Draxler. The return ball to Ozil, left corner of the penalty area. The left back Plattenhardt is also there. Little turn by Ozil. There was no foul as Mexico looked to clear it up towards Hernandez. And actually the decision has gone against Hernandez as he tried to spin away from Boateng. The Iranian referee has actually given that free kick in favour of Germany just outside the centre circle, and Hernandez has stayed down as well.
You know, I think he's going to make the argument that Hernandez was dragging the defender and pulled him around. I think Hernandez, we can safely... No, he's backed into Boateng. Do you know what? Well done, referee. Nailed it. That is an absolute superb decision, because centre-back's just looking at the ball, he's going to attack it. Hernandez doesn't actually go for the ball, he backs into Boateng in that situation. That is superb referee.
Alireza Faghani, the Iranian referee, getting the praise from Pat Nevin, which after spending a few days with Pat, that doesn't come easy, let me tell you. 0-0. Here is Müller. Müller right hand side.
Saying nothing.
Kimmich, Boateng on the halfway line. I thought working with Mark Chapman was hard until I spent time with you, Pat. Here is Kimmich on the right-hand side to Khedira.
You love the abuse.
Here is Khedira waiting. Plattenhardt is just in acres of space. It's almost as if it's lopsided, and the left-back is just waiting for the ball as Muller's cross is a tired one, really, from the right-hand side. Takes the deflection, takes a lot of the pace off the ball, and Ochoa will throw it out for Mexico. We've got 14 minutes to go to the break.
Anyway, you're talking about me giving you abuse. I thought Kelly Case gave you worse than me last night.
Yeah, but she's mostly Scottish, isn't she? All by 11.4%.
Ouch.
Kelly will be taking over the baton at half-time. Germany 0, Mexico 0. The pace has dropped off, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, I mean, it had to. I mean, but there's nothing wrong with that. I think the Mexicans, you go and try and play at that pace for 90 minutes, and it is quite sultry out there. It is warm. It will be exhausting for. Although I haven't said it's Mexican players. I mean, they kind of might be quite used to conditions that are quite warm. But you know, give yourself a little bit of rest, a little bit of respite. When you play at that pace on the break and do it all the time, you will run out of legs after a little while. Doing spurts and bursts, and that's what they're trying to do now.
Lozano, Hernandez, out towards Layun, far side, the right, has some support now with Herrera, plays it back in field. This is Carlos Vela. Vela holds off the challenge of Hummels. He's still got hold of the ball, he's done well under pressure. Support comes from Carlos Salcido, the right back. Work back out towards Gallardo, the left back level with the penalty area. Mexico are threatening. Low cross fired in, just couldn't reach. Hernandez takes a deflection. Kroos doesn't flap inside the penalty area, holds onto the ball. Very, very composed defending. Germany's clearance only as far as Hugo Ayala in the centre circle. Mexico keeping the ball well. 12 minutes to go to half-time on BBC Radio 5 Live. And here is Moreno, one of the central defenders. And the oles are now coming out from the Mexican supporters, because Mexico enjoying a lot of the possession. Sustained spell of the ball, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, do you know what? I think you have to call it now. They're the better side, aren't they, at the moment? And for probably a good period of the game now. Do you know that counts for absolutely nothing against Germany? Absolutely nothing, because we know that they're so capable of breaking, getting one chance.
Good footwork from Hector Herrera. Releases Layun, slides it in. Layun just couldn't take it in. He seemed to hesitate as Vela played the ball, diagonal ball through. It was a piercing ball by Vela.
That's the ball that I've been crying out for about the last 15 or 20 minutes. When they threw the ball to the player who makes a late run, they finally played it in. They played it to Layun. It's not Hernandez that's making the best runs, actually. The German centre-backs are spending so much time chasing after Hernandez. They're leaving players like Layun and Lozano to make those runs. On that occasion, he made the run. He was just a yard away. Once again, he should have been 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. They're making great opportunities, and here they go again.
Hernandez pops it off. It's then played back towards Hernandez. Hernandez has got Lozano free. Lozano in the penalty area. Lozano still going. Lozano scores. The World Cup holders Germany are behind, and Mexico, a devastating break. He was composed, he fired the ball low past Neuer. We're yet to have a European side lose in the 2018 World Cup, but Germany, the holders, are behind. Mexico 1-0.
That is no surprise whatsoever sitting here watching this game. The opportunities, the chances that they've been creating, very, very similar. Now, if you're German, you're going to see that terrible defending. The two centre-backs are miles apart, but the speed and the willingness of the four front players from Mexico has been superb in this game so far. The final ball hasn't been good enough, but just a moment ago, Leon almost got through when they finally played the right ball. This occasion, probably, I would suggest, the sixth time they've had a chance to go 1-1. They got it right and they scored, and boy did they deserve it.
Well, he's been absolutely explosive with PSV Eindhoven this season. 19 goals in his 34 appearances. It was a fine finish, right-footed, beat Neuer inside his near post. But what about the role that Hernandez played in the build-up to that goal, Pat Nevin?
Yes, I mean, the willingness, he doesn't actually always need to get on the ball himself, but when he gets on the ball, he's holding it well, and his willingness to run and drag players away has been magnificent. He's not the tallest, we know he's not the tallest, but it's been almost the perfect example of a striker's play from him today. His running's been great, he's taken 10 or 2 players, he's held up, he's linked up, and he's run long. He's done everything right, and he's done it selflessly. It's been an impeccable display, and yes, the involvement in the goal was deserved as well.
Now this is a test for Germany. They have been out of form. 1 win of 6 friendlies since they qualified. But you have to go back an awful long way since they actually lost their opening game in a World Cup as the cross comes in. And this is Draxler. Wouldn't settle for Draxler inside the penalty area. Shot then fired in by Khedira. That was blocked. Oh, that'll be a free kick. That was a tired challenge by Lozano, the goal scorer.
I just wonder if Lozano actually spotted Kimmich. The angle he was coming behind on the ball, I think he was just trying to smash the ball clear, not really looking, and I think Kimmich comes in from behind him. We've got another little replay here. No, I'm not giving you that, mate. We should pay a yellow card for that. He did come in from behind, but he's seen enough of him, and he's probably felt Kimmich on his shoulder there. He's absolutely leathered him. But what it's led to, 25 yards out, once again, another opportunity for a free kick goal. Certainly a shot and goal. And Mesut Ozil fancies this one, doesn't he?
Certainly does. It's fractionally right of centre. I would imagine, I was so busy just commentating on the goal, but I would imagine that when that goal was fired in for Mexico, there were a few sombreros that were tossed up in the air inside the Luzhniki, because still those in green are dancing and jumping up and down. Although there might be the odd worried face among the Mexican support, because this is a free kick. Draxler, Ozil and Kroos are the 3 white-shirted Germans who are standing over the ball. Draxler's now moved away. Kroos with his right foot, Ozil with his left. Kroos to take it. Oh, he's hit the crossbar. Germany have just thrown the crossbar through. Kroos with a free kick. Mexico still lead by a goal to 0. Ochoa, did he get anything on it?
I thought he did actually, but we'll see that in a moment.
Müller with a cross from the right-hand side. Germany responding well. Khedira. Werner inside the penalty area. Werner chips it across. Müller waits. Müller fires it low. And it will be just laid away by
Boateng's just
Guardado.
Yeah, Boateng's actually just taken on completely out of the play there. I mean, he has a monster of a man, Boateng there, but he needs to do that now, because I don't think he's got the pace to stay with a good number of these Mexican forwards when they break away, and they were just about to break away again there. Kroos can't believe it there. He's taken it over the wall, same corner where all they've been going in, and yes, the keeper does save it. I thought he had, and you're right, you guessed it as well. He's tipped it onto the crossbar there. It was a great free kick, but it was an even better save.
Guillermo Ochoa, outstanding against Brazil 4 years ago in a goalless draw. Certainly proving his worth.
Moreno's going to get a yellow card here for time wasting. That's a real disappointment there, considering the type of player he is. We've been talking about what he's like. He's a wholehearted player, and to get a silly yellow card there for absolutely nothing. They don't look like they're a team that wants to waste time just now.
5 minutes to go to the break on BBC Radio 5 Live. Oh, that was not the best of clearances from Neuer. It went straight to Khedira, fortunate for him, but he had no elevation whatsoever. Mexico lead 1-0.
It's a good reaction though, isn't it, from the Germans? Immediately lost the goal, they've got on the front foot, they created a few chances there up front, but it's whether the Germans can stay at that pace from here on in, because they might have to.
Here is Boateng, at the heart of the German defence inside in the penalty area. They were hoping to set a new national record of 6 consecutive World Cup wins with a victory here today, but it's not going their way. They are behind as Khedira over the halfway line. Of course, in Brazil 4 years ago, the defending champions opened up with a defeat, Spain losing to the Dutch. In Germany here, the defending champions trailing by a 1-0. They switch play out towards the left. They've hardly attacked down that left-hand side with Plattenhardt, but he now plays it forward towards Draxler. A lot of the attacks have featured down the right, as Pat Nevin had mentioned earlier. Kroos, Boateng joins the attack midway through the Mexico half, chips it in towards the penalty area. Was looking for the run of Müller. It'll be a goal kick though, Pat Nevin. Yeah,
you're talking about that left-hand side there, Draxler. Now, we've watched him coming through over the years, and he is a lovely player to watch. I mean, he just cruises around there, but he's not a left winger. I mean, he's an old-style left winger. So he's stuck out in that area in a position and he's had to play it for PSG on quite a number of occasions as well, but it's not a natural position. He wants to be a 10 like so many other players just now in the central areas. And he's out there and he's absolutely dependent on getting some of the ball and getting it good positions and getting it early. It just ain't happening for him so far. And the one chance he was completely free, you've mentioned it a couple of times, the ball wasn't played for him.
Germany, who've won each of their opening games at the last 7 World Cups. The last time they didn't was actually in Mexico 86 when they were held by Uruguay. You have to go back to the 82 World Cup, the last time they lost their opener against Algeria. Here is Ozil. They trail by a 1-0. Ozil to Draxler. Draxler finds Werner, chips the ball into the penalty area. Tucked in was the right back. Salcedo to clear. Break on. Vela leads the charge. He's got Layun away to his right. He's got Hernandez to his left. He now plays the ball out towards Layun. Layun inside the penalty area, looking for some support. Comes now. Played out by the left-hand side towards Lozano. Just couldn't quite take it in his stride as he's forced down towards the corner flag. Behind him is Guardado, and he'll charge down the cross, and in fact it doesn't go out off a German player, Kimmich. It'll go off the last touch from him, from Andreas Guardado, and it will be a goal kick to Germany.
I am stunned, Ian. I am utterly stunned at how slow that German midfield is. Now we know Ozil isn't a quick player, but you look at Khedira and Kroos at the moment, they're towing caravans there, trying to get back even close to the Mexican players in the midfield. They're breaking away from them time and time and time again.
Mexico, the more accomplished side, deservedly leading by a 0-0. BBC Radio 5 Live, 2.5 minutes to go to half-time. We've still got Brazil against Switzerland, and who, of course, can forget tomorrow, England's opening game. You'll get all the build-up. We'll get a flavour of the England camp between 6 and 7 tonight on 5 Live as Ozil to Khedira. Müller in a central area let it run. There was no one behind him. Salcedo will play it forward towards Hernandez. Has Hummels trying to challenge him from behind. Now this is the 16. Hector Herrera waits and holds on to the ball just over the halfway line. Has some support with Guardado in the centre circle. Now it's with Gallardo. Forward, Carlos Vela. They have been very good on the ball, have Mexico. And again the olays from the Mexican supporters, because this has been a very difficult first half for the World Cup holders, Germany. Keeping the ball going back. Every time the green shirt has it, you'll hear the olays. And now it stops because a long, hopeful ball downfield is chested forward by Neuer, the goalkeeper, to Boateng.
If you had to make a guess at how many times the Mexicans have broken from that midfield area and left the entire German midfield behind, you've got to say it's come towards about 10 times now. In one half of football. It's stunning to see it. You wouldn't believe it would happen to a team that Joachim Löw has actually sent out there.
Here is Kroos. Finds Ozil. Left corner of the penalty area. Plattenhardt went on the overlap, wasn't required. Infield to Draxler. Draxler now uses the ball out towards the left back. Plattenhardt with the cross after a first touch. It's arcing its way from goal over the head of both Müller and Kimmich. No foul. Potential break now.
Here they go again.
carried forward by Carlos Vela. They've got two over on the far side, trying to exploit the space left by the left back. Vela couldn't find him, he held on to the ball. Lays it back now. Guardado joins the attack, looking up, plays it back inside to Vela. Edge of the area, Vela shoots just wide. Another good attack by Mexico, who lead by a goal to nil. Goal kick, 5 live, 1-0.
That is absolutely stunning. And I'm watching you, myself, and John Southall all pointing to the right wing. Well, there's two players utterly and completely free that if he managed to play, I have to admit, it's a 40 or 50-yard ball, they're through and goal as well. I cannot believe I'm watching a Germany side that have been so stripped, absolutely naked here, totally and utterly torn to shreds.
Here is Werner. They just look so ordinary at the back, Pat.
And the midfield, I have to say, and the midfield. It's all very well at the back, but you need a little bit of protection in front of you. They are getting none whatsoever. Players are running straight off Cruz, straight off Cadera, and if you're a defender, you've got your forward to mark, but you've also got a guy running with the ball. You're caught between a rock and a hard place. Something's got to be done by Germany at half-time. He must make either tactical or personnel changes.
Being exposed time and time again by this Mexico side on the break, who lead by a goal to nil. That's cut out by Layun. He can play as a fullback, either right or left. He can also play up front, but he's in that attacking role on the right-hand side. He's now with Sevilla, is Miguel Layun, but he's had an excellent half, as have Mexico, full stop. And no wonder those who are in green are cheering their heroes off the pitch, because that has been an excellent half of football from Mexico. They have been the better side. They deserve a lead by a goal to nil. Lozano 10 minutes before the break. 3 minutes later though, Kroos was very close. Ochoa making the save, tipping his free kick onto the crossbar. But Germany 0, Mexico 1, and there are certainly plenty of questions for Joachim Löw, for the defending champions. Kelly Cates here at the break.
Thank you, Ian. Pat, I heard you say during commentary that you thought that Mexico's approach was brave. It's paid off, though, hasn't it?
It's better than brave, you're right. I started with brave. I've gone with utterly and completely confident, and also knowing how good they are. I didn't know they were this good. I didn't know they were this quick. I didn't know they had a liveliness of a level that could embarrass Germany. And I have to say, I think they've embarrassed Germany in this first half, because you break in a team that many times, open them up that many times, and to be honest, you should be gutted if you're a Mexican right now, because you should have 3. You really ought to have been through the goalkeeper 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times and put away. I mean, it started in the first second. I mean, the goal that was scored was almost a carbon copy of what Mexico did in the first seconds of the game. I have never seen a German team being turned to shreds like this. I'm dying to hear from Rafa Honigstein at some point.
Well, funnily enough, he's tweeted. He said no German midfielder within 40 metres of defence when they lose the ball, forces centre-backs into high-risk one-on-ones, high up the pitch. Crazy stuff is what he said. Is that your take on it?
I think he's just said exactly what I said there.
Yeah, exactly.
Precisely, yeah. Almost word for word. And that's why I ask about Rafa, because he's honest about it. He knows that that's exactly what's happening. And he's stunned on a number of occasions, because the very top coaches, when they see it happening, not once or twice, but time and time and time again in the first half, they change it. They change it that quick, because you could actually be out of this game by now. Now, Germany aren't out of the game just now, it's only 1-0. But I'm actually really quite stunned that Joachim Löw has not adapted his team and just said, OK then, forget this system, bring somebody else back with a little bit of legs into that midfield, don't actually care who it is. It may well be that you have to ask Thomas Müller to just cover in a little bit, and Draxler to cover in a little bit, and them to break from a deeper area. Because if you played this wide open again, it's exactly the way that Rafa is talking about there. You do that for the second half here, I'll tell you what, Germany will get hammered. They will get absolutely hammered. Thing is, I don't think they will do that in the second half.
And the thing is, from anything except a German perspective, people are loving this game. Brian said it's an absolutely cracking game of football. The Mexicans, so quick on the counter. Tash said this game's like the football equivalent of listening to a podcast at 1.5 times the speed. Rich says more shots in the first 10 minutes of this game than the entire Croatia game yesterday. Good stuff. And that's the point, isn't it? Unless you're a Germany fan, this is a great game, isn't it?
It's an absolutely brilliant game to watch. I've just seen some stats, and it just shows you how bad stats can be. I think there's 4 shots on target by the Mexicans. It was just, quite good. but they've broken about a dozen times, and they should have got about 10 goals or 10 shots on target. Yeah, it's an absolutely brilliant game. Again, like last night, two very different styles coming up against each other. But I don't know if it's the different styles. It's just that eagerness, it's just that willingness, it's just that vitality that you're seeing from the Mexicans that you just are not seeing from enough of the German players. And the question that's hanging in the air is, do the German players actually have it? Can they turn it back on? Are they young enough and eager enough and willing enough? The likes of, I'm picking three out, and I will not hide from the fact I'm picking three out here. Ozil, Khedira, Kroos. World-class players, we all know it. Do you know what? You ain't quick enough today. And if you're not quick enough, you're just going to get left behind.
Can't wait for the second half in this one. It's Germany 0, Mexico 1 at the Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow. We'll be back for the second half very shortly after the BBC News with Alison Acton.
On digital, online, smartphone and tablet, this is BBC 5 Live.
There are calls for more details about how the government plans to fund an extra £20 billion a year for the NHS in England by 2023. Theresa May says the budget increase will partly come from a Brexit dividend. The Prime Minister has also hinted at tax rises. John Ashworth is the Shadow Health Secretary.
The government are saying they're going to pay for this by a Brexit bonanza. The truth is they're going to pay for it by more borrowing and more taxation. I just wish Theresa May had been honest about that today.
Labour also says it will match the government's pledge and go further. A Conservative MP who blocked a bill that would have made upskirting a crime says he actually supports the idea of such a law. Sir Christopher Chope insists he was only objecting to parliamentary procedure. Here's our political correspondent Jessica Parker.
There are a number of MPs who object to private members' bills. They think they lack scrutiny because they're brought forward on a Friday. A lot of MPs have, of course, gone home by Friday, so they object to the lack of scrutiny. But he's also saying that he thinks the government has been hijacking time that is rightfully that of backbenchers. This is about who controls the House of Commons.
At least 20 people have been injured in a gun attack at an arts festival in New Jersey. A man in his 30s who was one of the suspects was shot dead. Another is in custody. At least 18 people have been killed by a suicide bomber in Afghanistan. Dozens were injured in the blast in the city of Jalalabad. It happened outside the governor's office while he was meeting a group of Taliban insurgents as part of a ceasefire for the Eid festival. Police in South Wales are questioning two people in connection with a fire at a church in Newport on Friday night. Officials say it spread from a disused nightclub next door. And US media is reporting that Tesla is investigating an extraordinarily unusual occurrence after one of its cars, driven by British TV director Michael Morris, burst into flames. His wife, Mary McCormack, who stars in The West Wing, tweeted a video of the incident in Los Angeles.
This is BBC 5 Live on digital, smart speaker, smartphone and tablet.
On the roads, problems on the M4 westbound in Berkshire. 2 lanes closed and stop-start traffic due to an accident between junction 10 for Wokingham and 11 for Reading. On the M25 anti-clockwise in Greater London, 1 lane blocked and slow traffic due to an accident between junction 25 for Enfield and 24 for Potters Bar. And still problems on the M5 northbound in Somerset. It's due to an earlier accident involving an overturned caravan between junction 26 for Wellington and 25 for Taunton. Travel time around 40 minutes. Alison Acton, 5 Live Travel.
5 Live Sports.
Available now. 5 Live's World Cup Daily Podcast.
Mbappe onto Giroud. He's beginning to find his range. Pogba tries to get in here. Pogba looks over the top and it hit the crossbar and came down. Pogba with arms raised. Celebrates. It is a goal.
With the squad, with the team, with the players that we have, I'm sure we can do something. We can do something in this World Cup.
Download the World Cup Daily Podcast from your favourite podcast provider.
Welcome to the World Cup Daily. We'll be bringing you a new episode every day.
This is your World Cup station. This is 5 Live. Live from Russia, this is 5 Live Sport with Kelly Cates.
And Mexico leading Germany by a 1-0 at half-time here in Moscow. Lozano with the goal against the world champions. Second half of that game still to come. And the final round of what's already been an eventful US Open is underway at Shinnecock Hills. Golf correspondent Ian Carter is there. Justin Rose is very much in contention, Ian.
Yes, he is, Kelly. He is just one shot off the lead. 4 Americans at the top of the leaderboard. Daniel Berger, Tony Finau, Brooks Koepka, the defending champion, and Dustin Johnson, who's been at the top of the leaderboard all week long. They're all at 3 over par, but Rose at 4 over par is just 1 shot behind. Henrik Stenson 2 shots behind. Ian Poulter at 7 over par. He's got a distant chance. He's within 4 shots. I think we can see an awful lot of drama playing out later on today. It's a very congested leaderboard. And out on the golf course at the moment, a lot of attention surrounding Phil Mickelson after all of yesterday's shenanigans when he hit that moving ball. He successfully came through that 13th hole today with a par 4. He was punching the air in celebration. He's just picked up a birdie and he's 2 under par for his round, but down in a share of 54th place.
How do you think the course is going to play over the next few hours, Ian?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. The USGA have said that in anticipation of the hot, dry weather that we're experiencing here, they have slowed down the greens. They've applied a lot of water to the greens overnight. They have taken into account the difficulties of very firm conditions in terms of where they've located the pin positions. And so, therefore, they don't think that the course will get away from them in the way that it did yesterday. To be honest, they should have taken this action yesterday. It was the wrong side of the line yesterday, and too many players late in the day were really treated very unfairly by the conditions. Hopefully today the steps that they have taken will ensure that it's a fair contest as this championship plays out into the late night as far as you're concerned.
Ian, thank you very much for that. Ian Carter will keep us up to date with everything that's happening at the US Open, and then full commentary is from 9 o'clock here on 5 Live Sport. The first One Day Cup semi-final is continuing at New Road. It's Worcestershire against Kent, and Charles Dagnall is watching. Hello, Charles.
Yes, hello. We've got an intriguing finish in prospect. 18 overs remain. Kent are 152 for 4. 131 run partnership between Adam Rouse and Heino Kuhn has just been broken. Rouse being dismissed by Daryl Mitchell, is dribbly medium pace doing the job. He's done an excellent job as the former Worcestershire captain. Rouse going for 70, but Heino Kuhn, who was dropped off court and bowl chance by Daryl Mitchell on 50, is still there, 63 not out. So the equation for Kent to try and reach the one-day final cup at Lords in a couple of weeks' time is that they require 155 runs to win and 18 overs remain.
Charles, thank you very much for that. That game continues on 5 Live Sports Extra, and that's where you can hear tomorrow's second semi-final between Hampshire and Yorkshire. Now, so far today at the World Cup, Serbia beat Costa Rica 1-0. At half-time, it's Germany 0, Mexico 1. And from 7 o'clock, it's the first appearance of Brazil. Let's bring in our South American football expert, Tim Vickery. Look, a lot of interest in this Germany game, first of all, Tim. The Brazilians will be looking at this and thinking, we might have an even better chance of winning the World Cup this time.
Yeah, and the Vuvuzelas are out. They're out in force here in Rio, and they were out in force to celebrate the Mexican goal. I'm not sure the full implications of this have yet dropped in, because I know we're getting well ahead of ourselves. But it will happen if Germany finish second in their group and Brazil top it. We've got that 7-1 being replayed as early as the round of 16. So this game being watched as Brazil. It's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon now. Brazil sits down to digest its Sunday lunch. And then hopes it doesn't have to vomit it up afterwards after a disappointing performance from the national team. But hopes are very high. Hopes are very, very high that this time round they're going to enchant us all once more.
Always love the vivid images that you paint, Tim. not sure too much about that one, though. But look, you talk about the 7-1. In terms of Brazil turning that around, how important has their manager Chiche been to where they've got to?
Totally, because for 2 years after the World Cup, they made no progress whatsoever. They reappointed Dunga, and after a third of the World Cup qualification campaign, they were in 6th place in South America and outside the qualifying positions. And there was real fear then that Brazil might lose its proud record of being the only country to have appeared at every World Cup. Well, that looks a long, long time ago now, as Dinah Washington so nearly sang all those years ago. What a difference a coach makes. And now they have been absolutely flying. They flew through World Cup qualification. They've done very well in the warm-up friendlies. And they've discovered a new magic quartet. They revealed it for the first time last Sunday in the last warm-up friendly against Austria. For the first time, they selected together Gabriel Jesus, Neymar, William and Felipe Coutinho. Now that means Coutinho playing as a genuine midfielder. Now, he's very, very good in the last 30 yards. Is he good enough box to box? That's going to be one of the key questions we're going to find out later on today and during the course of Brazil's campaign.
Tim, for now, thank you very much. We'll be talking more to Tim Vickery as we build up to Brazil against Switzerland. That one kicks off at 7 o'clock. Meanwhile, at half-time, Germany are trailing Mexico by a 0-0. German football expert Raphael Honigstein joins us now from inside the Luzhniki Stadium. Pat Nevin said he was desperate to hear what you had to say about this first half of football from the German perspective, Raf. So what did you think?
Kelly, I'm not sure I have any words for this performance. It's quite shocking. Germany have not played a game as disjointed, as dishevelled under Löw in a long, long time. Yes, Ghana 2014 was up and down and very little control, but this is just a bit embarrassing almost. Mexico just are so much quicker. They know what they're doing. Germany just lumber into these positions and then can't come back. It's the same story that plays out almost every single move. Khedira and Kroos miles away from the defence, and Germany really exposed and lucky, because a better team with better finishing and better movement up front would have punished them. But 1-0 is the best thing about this 45, that it's only 1-0.
Is it about the way that Joachim Löw has set them up, or is it about the fact that Ozil and Khedira and Kroos just aren't playing to the top of their game?
Very difficult to distinguish between tactics and the application, because if you have a midfield that doesn't track back, it doesn't matter how you set them up, they're just miles away. Khedira tries to go through the middle, he doesn't quite have the pace to get away from his mark anymore, runs into blind alleys, then loses it. Then you have the centre backs with 40 metres ahead of them of green space and green man running at them, and they are bound to look really, really exposed, and then they get forced into these 1v1s, and one of them went wrong, and that's how the goal was being scored.
Rafa, can I ask you, I'm watching this break and I'm stunned by the fact that Ozil, Khedira and Kroos, they just look incredibly slow. They can't get back. They push that a little bit further forward, and the players are playing against them, as you say, they're running at a massive amount of space. I actually wasn't fully having any goes at the defenders, because as you say, there's a massive amount of space and they have to commit themselves.
I mean, Kroos and Khedira are not the fastest players in the world anyway. We know that's not their game. If they are running to get the ball back, there's already something gone wrong in the first place.
It's honestly, Kelly, it's scary to watch. And I'm watching the coach down here, Joachim Löw. He cannot allow that to happen again, surely.
Rafa, I was going to say we'll let you go and enjoy the second half. I'm not sure if that's going to be possible. Certainly live, Germany don't turn things around. Thanks very much for joining us, Rafa Honigstein, from inside the Luzhniki Stadium, where the second half is soon to get underway between Germany and Mexico, with Mexico leading by a 0-0. We can rejoin our commentary team. You just heard him there, Pat Nevin, alongside Ian Dennis.
Thank you, Kelly. The Germans haven't made a change. So for the time being, Joachim Löw is keeping faith with the side that has been exposed time and time again in a first half where they trail by a 0-0 as the second half restarts here on 5 Live. And don't forget, if you are on your way home, you've been listening on the radio, this game is on BBC television, but if you press your red button, you can listen to the commentary, as you can with every 5 Live commentary when it's on BBC TV, through the red button option. But in this second half, as we sit here in this media tribune, Germany playing from right to left as we look, in their white shirts and black shorts, and the ball goes long up towards Hernandez, and Hummels has got to come across to deal with Hernandez, who just waits, plays it behind him to Herrera, and there is options here now for Mexico in their green shirts and white shorts as they play from left to right. So neither side has made a change. So Germany have Neuer in goal, Kimmich, Boateng, Hummels and Plattenhardt is the back four. Khedira and Kroos, the two holding midfielders. Müller, Ozil and Draxler behind Timo Werner. For Mexico, Ochoa is in goal, a back four of Salcido, Ayala, Moreno and Gallardo. Guardado and Hector Moreira, the two central midfielders. Layún on the right, Lozano the goal scorer on the left, Carlos Vela central behind Javier Hernandez. The last time that Germany conceded first in a World Cup match and they came back to win was against Mexico in the World Cup in France 1998 by 2-1. Mexico have only had one victory in 11 meetings with either West or the unified Germany. That was a friendly back in 1985. But this would create a stir. It would offer real optimism for Mexico as well, who have a proud record of going through, but a real jolt to the system for the defending champions, who have topped every World Cup group since 1990. Pat Nevin.
Do you know, it's happening again. It is already happening again. There are massive gaps for the players to run into. Just a moment ago there, Layun was in a great position. If the ball had been played, he was going to be through. I mean, it was a sparkling kind of dual performance they had at the start, and Hernandez, well, he's a beautiful ruby up front, isn't he? He's absolutely fantastic at the moment.
Draxler to Khedira. Khedira out wide. Kimmich level the penalty area with a cross, right-footed. That's headed away by Moreno. The referee actually ducks underneath the ball, as in the end it's Plattenhardt who gets the shot away, the left back, but it was a tame effort really off his left foot and straight at the Mexican goalkeeper. Ochoa, decked out all in orange, away to our left-hand side.
They look really confident at the start of the second half. Obviously Germany have come out once again, not dissimilar to the start of the first half. They've tried to control the game a little bit, hold the ball, get their passing, make sure that they make the Mexicans run about a bit, but they've not really endangered them behind often enough, which is a complete opposite of what's happening to them the other side.
Closest Germany have come to a goal was just moments after they'd gone behind. A free kick tipped onto the crossbar as the cross comes over from the right-hand side, and it drifts out of play for a goal kick. And in the first half, I mentioned that the last time they lost an opening game to a World Cup was 1982, 2-1 against Algeria. The last time they actually failed to score in an opening World Cup match was Poland, a goalless draw back in 1978. So this is a German side who has it all to do in this second half as they trail 1-0 on 5 Live. And then we've got Brazil against Switzerland. Brazil, of course, who were humbled in Belo Horizonte on a really, really bad, embarrassing capitulation when they were beaten in the semi-final as the host nation 7-1 in the semi-final last time. Well, Pat Nevin called it in the first half. He said Germany have been embarrassed by Mexico as they trail by a goal to 0. Embarrassed and exposed.
Well, I'm delighted it's not sounding like hyperbole, because Rafa Honigstein agreed.
4 minutes into the second half. Mexico with Layun to take a throw. He'll just throw it behind him. Salcido, the right back, will come forward. The Iranian referee says don't go too far forward.
For all we say it just now, Mexico need another goal, don't they? At some point, yes. Germany are going to do something. Yes. They're going to create something. One of the top players is going to get free, and that if they get one chance to make any of the final passes that Mexico didn't make in the first half, they'll make that pass.
Well, I mentioned in the first half about Spain starting their defence with defeat last time out against the Dutch. Only one of the last 4 World Cup holders have actually started with a victory. That was Brazil against Croatia in 2006, but Mexico working the ball out despite the high press from Germany. Foul then from Boateng on Hernandez just over the halfway line. That'll be a free kick to Mexico. 1-0 up they lead.
Just a moment ago, Mexico played it out from the back there, and the monumental chances they are taking at the back, but they've got such amazing belief in their ability, even the defenders.
Lozano brings the ball under control, has some support as it's stroked back by Vela. Back out to the former Arsenal player on that left-hand side. In field, and then it's just laid off by Hector Herrera. Played down the line by Gallardo, the left-back. And Lozano, in the end, tries to get round the back and overruns it. And out of play it goes for a goal kick to Germany.
A slight weakness, Lozano. I mean, he's been impressive, hasn't he? But he does tend to cut inside a lot of the time. He ran the ball out there trying to go wide. I actually applaud him for that, even though he ran the ball out, because now and again, even if you're not great in your left foot, you need to give the defender something to think about and make sure he doesn't think you're going to go the same way every time. Really clever play, even though it looked as if he made a terrible mistake.
22 years of age. Before his move to PSV Eindhoven, he was linked with Manchester City, but at such a tender age, I'm sure he'll be linked with English clubs as well if he continues to impress in this World Cup tournament here in Russia. As you listen to BBC Radio 5 Live, Boateng chips the ball through the centre. Salcido's covering, running back towards his own penalty area. Boateng then stops the run of Lozano. The ball breaks out towards Khedira. Khedira forward. Right hand side is Kimmich, level of the penalty area, looks up, sends over the cross, blocked by Gallardo's body, out it rebounds for a throw. Kimmich wants to take it quickly, finds Khedira, challenged, out of play it goes. Mexico continue to work hard.
You absolutely do, but if you look at the way the line-out is just now, there's 3 midfielders against 3 of Germans and one at the top. They're going again, they're waiting for the break again, the Mexicans. This is such brave play, incredible.
Draxler, 30 yards out from goal, plays it in. Here is Müller, able to turn, edge of the area, comes to Kimmich, the right back in the central area, shoots, always rising off his left foot, over the target, and it's gone for a goal kick. Germany 0, Mexico 1, still can't find their range.
No, they can't find their rhythm either. We talked a lot about the Mexican coach at the start, didn't we? Osorio, and the fact that, he'd spent time in Liverpool and he'd come through as a fitness coach. Do you know what? His tactics have been absolutely brilliant today. They've been genius today. And it's one of those ones where it's almost the emperor's new clothes. He's just looked at Germany and said, right, they're not all that, they're lacking in pace. How do you beat pace? Okay, you actually step onto them and take chances and believe in yourself. I love the fact that he's been brave enough to do this. It's fantastic.
53 minutes played. Mexico have a slender advantage. Boateng will carry the ball short of the halfway line. Now comes into Mexican territory. Plays it forward. Khedira wasn't able to get there. Mexico break it up. Herrera's able to turn. He's got Lozano making the run ahead of him. The goal scorer left-hand side. Level the penalty area. Boateng goes across. Now helped out over on that far side by Müller as Mexico back. The Mexican supporters in fine voice here in the Luzhniki Stadium on BBC Radio 5 Live as the holders look for an equaliser. Leun on the stretch. Plattenhardt will now come forward. Ozil on the halfway line. Ozil waits. Draxler makes the run ahead of him, finds the feet of Draxler, trying to get away from Salcido. Here is Werner, and there was no real challenge from Hugo Ayala, and Ochoa has the ball at his feet, and the Iranian referee says no foul, play on.
It's been quite incredible that Timo Werner, we know that he's quick, we know that he's well capable, but the biggest effect that he's had in the game so far is trying to throw himself to the ground when he wasn't actually tackled, looking for a penalty kick there, and it was never on. So, it's really, really odd to watch a player who's got that capabilities, but no one has actually played the ball into him yet. Here he's got a chance.
Here is Werner. Finds Ozil just outside the D. Draxler's over. Draxler's first time shot actually strikes the legs of Salcido as he tries to come across and cover and diverts the ball behind for a corner kick. Germany still trail.
See, that's the difference. So when the little bits of space open up, the Germans will play the right pass. When going forward, they have the capabilities to do that, and they will get spaces. There will be more space in this second half for them.
Corner taken short. Kroos to Ozil, back to Draxler. Draxler strokes it in field. Kroos able to turn. Can he create the opening? Kroos, right-footed shot, blocked. Comes back towards Kroos. Khedira is able to turn. Kroos now takes it over. Midway through the Mexican half, chips the ball in towards Müller. And in the end, it was Guardado who coming back to help out. Didn't go out of play. Ochoa, the goalkeeper, kept it in as a little flick of his left hand. And they're loving everything at the minute, the Mexican supporters.
Goalkeeper's unusual, isn't he? I mean, he almost doesn't look like a goalkeeper the way he moves. Oddly enough, that was a basketball move there. He managed to keep the ball in with a basketball move. They're just a lively team. They're enjoyable to watch all the time. And at the moment, if they can just keep this up, you just don't know how much energy they've got. Can they keep this level up for the entirety of the game? You'd be surprised if they could.
That was a sloppy ball. Draxler maybe to take advantage. Ozil couldn't work it into the path of Werner. Lozano, no, is adjudged to have made the foul on that far side against Kimmich. And that'll be a free kick to Germany midway through the Mexican half. We talk about Germany having a proud record on World Cup openers. Mexico do. They're unbeaten in their last 5 since they were beaten by Norway back in 1994. They lead by a goal to 0. This is 5 Live. 10 minutes into the second half. Boateng switching play. Plattenhardt, the left back, brings it down off the chest a couple of times. Behind him finds Draxler. Draxler's ball into the penalty area. Khedira on the half turn, can't work it across. Volleyed away by Leun inside his own penalty area. Hummels will get there in front of Hernandez. That was a tussle between the two. Salcido's header now clipped long. They've got 2 over. They've got round the back of Plattenhardt. There's a break for Mexico. It's Hernandez. He's got Vela in support. He just couldn't find Vela. Vela, though, will still get there ahead of Kimmich. Ball played back inside, and it's over the top from Guardado. And another chance, another break goes missing for Mexico.
It's amateurish, that defending, isn't it? Unbelievable. How many times are they going to have a man over and the German defence are chasing shadows there? Once again, it's 2 against 1. That just doesn't happen in international football, and it certainly doesn't happen to the Germans. It's incredible to watch.
They're just not. Normally the Germans are so good at game management, they're not seeing it. Ozil. Shot comes in from Muller. Terrific save, flags up. Would not count. Ochoa wasn't to know that, though. That was a very good save away towards his left-hand side, and Mexico are going to make a change.
And to be fair, he's not had actually many saves to make. They've defended quite well in front of him. And it's a big call to make any sort of changes just now when your team's playing this well and you're breaking at such pace. And Vela, has to be said, he's played really, really well there. He's so unlucky. He almost scored a goal. I'm slightly disappointed he's coming off, but in the fact that each player who's played for them has done very, very well. We shall see what his replacement does.
Well, he is a defender. He can play in the centre of defence. He can also play in a defensive midfield holding role as well. So we'll see where Edson Alvarez will go on as he comes on for his 14th appearance to replace Carlos Vela, who certainly had a fine game as Mexico lead by a goal to nil. 5 Live, just short of the hour mark. And to see what that tactical change is. We said he was a tinker, we said he was a thinker. Juan Carlos Osorio. And he's made his first change with his side leading by a goal to nil. Khedira over the halfway line. White shirts, black shorts. Germany play from right to left. Draxler's diagonal ball out towards Kimmich. Quickly closed down. Still works over the cross. Clearance then by Moreno. Sliding into the ball, Guardado on the edge of the area. Werner tries to help win it back and succeeds. Kimmich helps him out too. Kroos plays it forward. Werner, is he going to go on the overlap? Khedira might not need him. Right corner of the penalty area, tries to dink the ball in. That was blocked by Alvarez, who now goes across towards that far side. Can Kimmich deliver the ball? He's forced to retreat. Germany still looking for an equaliser as we approach the hour mark. They work it back towards Kimmich, bit of space. Quickly closed down by Alvarez once again, sliding into the challenge. Last touch came off Kimmich, goal kick, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, I'm a wee bit disappointed with that substitution, I have to tell you. They were breaking brilliantly. Yes, Germany had more of the possession there. The little bits of creaks and a little bit of cracks are appearing in that defence there. But the breaks were still on, the opportunities were still on. So it's kind of blinked. I think Osorio's blinked first there. He's got a little bit more defensive now, Son, and Alvarez. He's sitting in a deep line midfield position. And we shall see if there is enough breaking pace. We know that Lozano can break. Lyon's still there breaking, and Hernandez is up front anyway, so there's enough speed to break into that sort of area, but I think the creativity of Vela may well be missed.
Well, the change has now been made by Germany, their first change, and it's an attacking change. So Mexico do go defensive with their first substitution. It's an offensive change made by Joachim Löw, because Marco Reus, there was plenty of speculation, would he start instead of Draxler or indeed an Ozil, as the ball is flicked on towards Hernandez, tidied up by Boateng towards Neuer. But Marco Reus has come on to replace Sami Khedira. So they've now just got the one in the centre of midfield in Toni Kroos. Marco Reus will go into a more advanced position for the white shirts of Germany, with 30 minutes to try and salvage something from this opening game as they trail by a goal to nil. Plattenhardt, the left back,
that's
towards
really
Neuer.
Intriguing, Ian, you're right, it's very, very intriguing to make that call. And give him his shoe, Joachim Löw, he knows his game, he knows the game inside out, and he's watched his opposition manager blink first, and when he's blinked, he's changed it immediately again and thought to himself, no, I can get an extra attacking man on here, I can get an extra little bit of pace going forward, and you wouldn't be surprised now if Germany start taking over.
Draxler, edge of the area. Draxler tries to create the opening, has his right-footed shot blocked. Kroos has won it back here. Kroos still going all the way, and then there just seemed to be a breakdown in communication between him and Reus in the right side of the penalty area, and it rolls out for a goal kick.
Yeah, and it's going to be a long, long time. Again, it's not dissimilar to what we sat through and enjoyed last night with Iceland against Argentina. Half an hour to go, you thought it's going to be hard for them to last, the Icelandic team. And you're beginning to feel a little bit like that with the Mexicans as well. The difference is the Mexicans have got massive pace to play on the break. and you get the feeling they will get one or two more chances between now and the end of the game.
62 minutes on the clock. Germany coming forward. Werner. Royce tries to make a run behind him. Held up though by Alvarez. Lejeune sweeps it high downfield. Hummels will head it away for Germany. Edge of the centre circle. Ozil tries to hold off the challenge of Herrera. Takes the quick free kick. Plattenhardt forward to Draxler. Plattenhardt makes a run on the inside. The left back. Here is Ozil. Ozil clips it across towards Kimmich. High up the pitch, right hand side. Back towards Ozil. Ozil's now operating in a deeper position since Royce has come on. Ozil then plays it forward. That was cut out though on that far side by Gallardo, the left back. Germany though have it again with Ozil. Ozil now starting to pull some strings for Germany. Müller bundled off the ball was Royce. No free kick, says the Iranian referee. And Gallardo, the left back, will have time to clear on that far side. He just comes on the inside of Müller. Oh, they love that, the Mexicans. Still leading by a goal to nil. And out towards Lejeune on this near side, the right. Hernandez is ahead of him. They have lost the option, though, of runners since Vela left the field to be replaced by Alvarez, Pat.
Yeah, it's very noticeable there, wasn't it? They just got the ball on the right-hand side there. They're running towards the German defence, and every time up until now, they've kept going. They've gone forward. They've looked for the forward pass, and on this occasion, they didn't do so. Having said that, as you can probably hear from the Mexicans, they're playing it beautifully.
Herrera almost picked out Lozano with a ball from just outside the centre circle of his own half as Lozano was coming in off the left touchline. It was a diagonal ball that was too close to Neuer.
Yeah, they're so dangerous still. And yet they've taken that attacking player Vela off, and you know he can play the killer ball. But you've still got those two wide players who are lightning quick.
Germany in possession. Draxler. Lejeune has had to come back because he had to keep a watchful eye on Plattenhardt because the left back, he's quite forward on this near side, the left, as Germany play from right to left. If you're listening to your 5 Live commentary on your red button, he might be out of picture, but Lejeune at the moment is almost operating as a right back because of the presence of Plattenhardt. Germany are committing men forward. Boateng joins the attack. Boateng, edge of the area, plays it into the box. The acrobatic finish from Kimmich, the right back in a centre-forwards area, and it was not a bad effort onto the roof of the net as Ochoa dived away towards his left-hand side, over the top. Mexico still lead 1-0.
That's twice he's got himself into the box, once in the first half and once in the second half, and he looks very, very dangerous. And he's not just, a creator of goals from that right-back position. He gets into those areas, and he's well capable of scoring as well. And of course, we all know the problem with a full-back turning up there. He's not got a marker. It's the last person he expected to turn up there.
Still only 23 years of age, the only German to play in all 10 of their qualifiers, and they were the only European nation to win all 10 of their qualifiers. They've floundered since, and the holders are floundering here against Mexico as they trail by a goal to nil. 65 minutes on the clock, but Germany coming forward. Werner. Royce is making the run in field as Werner carries the ball to the left corner of the penalty area. And going back with him was Salcido. And the goal kick has been awarded to Mexico.
Yeah, they're very confident they got the decision right there. Salcido's been great, hasn't he, in this game? He's full-back, he's quietly done his job. He's got forward 2 or 3 times as well, but he's kept that entire left-hand side of the German attack really pretty quiet for most of the game.
Well, they'll know all about him, Pat, because he plays for Eintracht Frankfurt, and in fact he won the German Cup against Bayern Munich, did the right back, whose nickname is El Titan. Now here comes Raúl Jiménez, who's joined Wolves on a season-long loan from Benfica for the season ahead, and Lozano is the player to make way for him. And Lozano, the goal scorer, getting a terrific ovation from the Mexicans inside this stadium. So Jiménez comes on and goes out towards that left-hand side.
Again, we'll see what he do, and is he going to play in a similar position? I mean, he's a bigger, stronger player than the one who's replaced there, but it's all about pace. They want to have pace up front that they can cause the Germans problems.
Not exactly prolific during his time with Benfica. Only played 7 minutes in Brazil. That was actually against the host nation, so he's got a little bit of a longer run out this time here for the World Cup in 2018. Being brought to you by BBC Radio 5 Live as we approach the midway point of the second half. and the holders still looking for a way back into the game as they trail. They are on the attack now, and coming forward with Royce, out towards Müller. Müller right hand side, first time cross, flying header, not cut out, falls to Draxler. Draxler goes for the curling effort, takes the deflection over the top. Corner kick for Germany.
Slightly worrying times for any of our Mexican listeners out there. Germany are beginning to play like Germany now. Remember how they used to play, controlling the game, doing the right thing at the right time, passing well.
Corner taken short, played in, and it drops towards Werner on the half volley. 6 yards out, right-footed, always on the rise, over the top. He knows it was an opportunity.
Everything's changed since the substitutions began. Absolutely everything's changed. And as I say, I was very disappointed to see Vela going off and then taking Lozano off. It still looked as if he had plenty of legs left in him. But the coach knows his players, he knows their capabilities. He understands that, you know, if they keep the men on any longer, they might just blow a gasket, as it were, get injured. But really, for someone on the outside, it's quite saddening to see both of those players being taken off at exactly the point they were. It seemed a bit early.
Ochoa under pressure concedes the corner kick, but Pat called it at the time, and you can't help but feel that they've handed initiative to Germany with that defensive substitution. Germany have since made an attacking change, and the momentum is with Germany at the moment, with 22 minutes remaining. Germany 0, Mexico 1. Corner kick to Germany. Ochoa, the goalkeeper, having to concede that corner kick. So, far side the right, out swinging header, over the head, a corner, over the head of Hummels, cleared away. Played back towards Draxler. Draxler dances his way in towards the penalty area, fires it in low, strikes Salcido. Cleared then by Gallardo. Boateng will see it back. If he could have just picked out Hernandez, Pat.
He was only in about 60 yards of space on his own with no marker on him. Quite incredible. So they are being quite clever about it. They're not leaving 3 up for a corner anymore. Nothing like that at all. But they're leaving it 1-on-1. And one of the midfielders is ready to break on it too. So there's a good bit of intelligence about what they're doing just now. They're being slightly more defensive, but still trying to play in the break as much as they can.
The question is, can Mexico hold out? Jimenez up towards Hernandez. Hernandez does well, lays it out towards Layun. Layun over the halfway line. He's got Hernandez streaking through the middle. He finds Hernandez in the penalty area, goes down under the challenge. The referee's assistant has raised his flag on this near side. We will see if VAR will be checked.
I think it'll be a handball.
It's gone against Mexico.
Yeah, I think it's a handball. He's gone down there. He's made a brilliant run there. He's flown forward. Question of whether it was offside. I don't think he wasn't offside for where we're seeing it. Don't think the referee's given it for that. I think he's given it for the handball by Hernandez when he's actually on the ground at that point in time. Hernandez has gone down. I wouldn't call that a dive. I would call that you've just run out of legs completely and exhausted. Close, wasn't it?
It was close. No need for VAR on this occasion. Plenty of players in this humid evening in Moscow taking on liquid refreshment during that break. Mexico still lead by 1-0. Just over 20 minutes remaining. But Germany having a lot more possession and causing problems now. Cross fired in from the right-hand side by Royce. Excellent clearance under pressure from Salcido as Draxler was making the sliding run in towards that area of the field. Clearance only comes, and it's back with Royce once again. Kimmich thinks about the run from right back on the overlap. They go back, they work it. Ozil now out towards Kimmich, right-hand side. They're queuing up in the middle. In comes the cross, headed away by Ayala. Germany are knocking on the door. Here is Kroos. Out towards Ozil. Ozil waits. They're going to have to work every bit of cover, every blade of grass, Mexico at the moment, because Germany are camped inside the Mexican half. Ball played forward, fired across. Effort. Whistles over from Royce. The angle was tight. Hit it right-footed, screwed it over the top. Goal kick, 1-0 Mexico.
You should not be having a shot from there. You got into a great position. Mexico are really stretched now. You're looking in the middle of the park there. Brilliant position taken up by Timo Werner. Try and find him. He's on the penalty spot. He's on his own. No one's near him. He's got a tap in. Instead, he tries to smash the ball from the most acute angles. They go in one set of every 50 times you shoot them. Poor decision. Unusual for Royce.
They've scored 20 goals in their last 4 World Cup openers. They put 8 past Saudi Arabia in 2002. They've put 4 past Australia and Portugal in their last 2 World Cups. At the moment, though, the Germans are drawing a blank. And look who Mexico are going to be turning to here. They're going to be turning to Rafael Marquez, a 39-year-old who retired from Atlas, his club, back in April. It is his 5th World Cup. And a little bit of history here, because he's going to become only the 3rd player to play at 5 World Cups. He's made 16 appearances. He has a wealth of experience. He'll join his fellow countrymen, Antonio Carvajal and Lothar Matthäus. And for those of you who are thinking Gianluigi Buffon is also in that small group, well, he attended 5 in squads, but he only played in 4. So here comes Rafael Marquez, just to sit and try and see them through. His nickname was El Kaiser. Well,
how fitting.
How fitting indeed, because he's going to have an instrumental role to play now. He's been a talisman over the years for Mexico. So it's a bit of World Cup history here for Rafael Marquez. And the player who's coming off is Andres Guardado, the 31-year-old, his 4th World Cup, so he's had plenty of experience, but Marquez will just sit and to try and see them through and guide Mexico to what would be 3 valuable points as he takes over the captain's armband.
Well, if you didn't think it was going to be a war of attrition beforehand, well, it is going to be now. If you've got Alvarez who's defensively minded, and you've now added Marquez to that as well, and we've already got 4 other defenders on the park, they're going to try and put a wall up there and make sure that the Germans can't get through. This is going to be an intriguing last 20 or so minutes.
His announcement, cheered to the rafters inside the Luzhniki, gives a lift to the Mexican supporters. Will it give a lift to the Mexican players? 16 more minutes required. Germany are going to come knocking. Remember, 1978, the last time that they failed to score in a World Cup opener. Germany trailed by a 1-0. Plattenhardt, the left-back, only playing because Hector is ill. Kroos into the midfield to Ozil. Heavy touch, unable to take advantage, Mexico. Boateng out to Kimmich, right-hand side, early ball. Müller now towards Draxler, back to goal inside the penalty area. Out towards Boateng, chips it forward. Royce was there, they're appealing for handball. Referee doesn't want anything to do with it. They're going to take the early clearance through Ochoa, trying to get Jimenez away on that left-hand side. But Germany were alert to the danger. Both Hummels and Kimmich were back. 1-0 Mexico. Pat Nevin.
Well, at least they tried to play a little bit on the break, and they've gone that far left-hand side and trying to get a little bit of pace into the game. Jimenez isn't slow, actually, so they tried to play it to him there, but he couldn't get the ball to him. But there's no way they're going to get any breaking from the midfield, from the likes of the players that they brought on, such as Alvarez and Marquez. So again, one less player left to break. But even so, you just look at the Germans, they still could be caught out. But it's much more likely that Germany are going to score now. They'll get so much of the ball, and so much of the game has been played in the last third.
Plattenhardt near side, the left, playing from right to left as we look to Draxler. Behind him is Kroos, midway through the Mexico half. Finds Ozil. Ozil forward of the centre circle. Midway through the Mexico half, forward ball back towards Kroos. They're looking to close down the options. Vasquez closes down Kroos, out towards Kimmich, right-hand side, level the penalty area. Kroos wants it, first-time shot! Ochoa, full-length dive by the Mexican keeper. It was off target, it was curling, and it goes behind off the advertising hoardings and out for a goal kick as Mexico's slender lead is still intact with under 15 minutes remaining.
Yeah, good technique to get the ball down there. But I think Ochoa had that one covered. It was great pace, it was going towards the corner there, but Ochoa actually had his arm beyond the far post as the ball went past, so he had that one covered. He's been superb today. He's not done a thing wrong, and even his play with the ball at his feet has been superb so far as well. And that's just the goalkeeper, Ochoa.
Kroos, diagonal ball. Müller lays it back towards Kroos, then gets it from Royce, edging their way towards the Mexico penalty area. Kimmich right-hand side, just in from the touchline. Germany dominating with possession. Here is Ozil. Joining the attack is Hummels, just to the left of him. Pass towards the central defender. Looks up, time on the ball. Goes square. Kroos. They're being patient. Here is Draxler. Draxler quickly closed down. It spins up in the air and it loops over the crossbar behind for a corner kick.
That is a brilliant touch by Draxler. You know, I mentioned to you earlier, he's not a left winger. You give him the ball in the centre of the park and he's absolutely brilliant.
Corner taken short, right-hand side. Royce slips it in. Here is Muller, takes a deflection. They're just throwing themselves in front of everything on that occasion. It was Hector Herrera. Again, the corner is taken short. They know that Mexico on the ropes here to Germany. But here is a break on. And the interception from Marquez. And it's Lejeune who's coming forward. Lejeune with a shot on the run over the top of the crossbar. Still they have that threat on the counter-attack.
It is fabulous to watch, absolutely brilliant. The Germans are playing as if there's a minute to go. They're playing at that pace and that intensity, so they're trying to create chances at every second moment. So well done, the Germans playing exactly that way. But the way that Mexicans are saying, they're saying, OK, then you do that, we'll try and hang on as much as we can. But we have got pace to burn up front. Hernandez, we know, has got plenty of it. Jimenez has shown that he's got plenty of it. And Lejeune, well, he's still on the park as well. By looking up front there, and I think Hernandez, he's beginning to suffer a little bit just now. Just holding there as if he's got a little bit of a strain on his calf.
I wouldn't expect you to comment on this with your Scottish allegiance, but when you worked out ahead of the game that there wasn't a European side yet to lose in this World Cup, the superstitious part of me thinking, oh no, that could be England tomorrow against Tunisia. But it may well be the World Cup holders here in Germany.
I didn't think it was Germany, I'll be honest with you. I didn't think there was any chance, but I'm not even thinking they're going to lose yet because they've got so much possession. They're going to get a few chances between now and the end of the game. That's a certainty.
Plattenhardt with a cross, left-hand side, curling away, 6 yards out. Good header away by Gallardo, fired in by Ozil, cannons away, and then it's just confidently played out by Marquez towards that far side, towards Jimenez, and it will go in favour of Mexico for a throw. And of course we talk about England, opening game tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have your company, 7 o'clock kickoff against Tunisia, and we'll be hearing from Caroline Barker, the latest from the England camp, as we focus on Gareth Southgate's opener between 6 and 7. And that's before our next World Cup commentary in Group E. Brazil against Switzerland, where earlier in that group, Costa Rica 0, Serbia 1. But this is Group F.
OK, they've got big problems now. Mexico, they brought all their defenders on, and so they're going to just sit back. The thing is, the Germans have realised that. They've taken another defender off in Plattenhardt and put Mario Gomez up front. So, as I said before, there's going to be chances. Well, there's definitely going to be chances, and now there's more strikers on board. And Gomez is a good scorer and also a big man to go and try and find up front. Real pressure for the Mexicans now.
Real pressure indeed. He's a player who's been written off in his career. There was question marks over Germany as the ball is clipped in by Kroos. And we thought, no, they'll be all right. They're always all right, the Germans. But maybe those questions and that scrutiny will grow if they were to lose their opening game here in the Luzhniki Stadium. And they have 10 minutes to try and salvage something on BBC Radio 5 Live. As Mexico forward, Jimenez midway through the Germany half, foul by Boateng. No, says the referee. That's not gone down well with the Mexican supporters. Draxler. They brought in the attacking reinforcements. They're now piling on the pressure. Ozil to Muller. Muller clips over the cross. Cleared away by Ayala. Break for Mexico. It's 3 against 2. Lejeune could be free here if he can play him in. He's got Lejeune to the right. Hernandez to the left. And he couldn't pick out any of them. Carried forward now by Marquez. Out to Lejeune, who just stands still. Green shirts, white shorts, playing from left to right. What a thrilling game this has been.
Yeah, he's got to find them there, haven't you? You're saying to yourself, you must just pass it wide to Lejeune. And once again, the complaint I was making in the first half, that final pass, when it is on, they don't seem to have the ability to make it often enough. And once again, they lose it. But on this occasion, it was Lejeune's fault. He should have gone wider and made it an easier pass.
So Germany have Gomez, they have Werner, they have Draxler, they have Royce, Muller. They've been the top scorers for the last 3 World Cups, but at the minute they're still not firing. As Gallardo will break forward from left back. Gallardo's got pace. Gallardo coming forward, picks out Lejeune. He gets him in range and drills the ball wide. Right-footed on the rise, off-target goal kick. Mexico still can't find that elusive second goal, Pat.
Yeah, and how often have you watched Germany over the years? get a late goal, and you're thinking to yourself, you need that goal. They have had so many opportunities now to get 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, the Mexicans, and they just can't get that extra goal. A goal that they have deserved over the pace of the game, and you can see the Germans come up at the end, and here they come again.
It's a gripping game in the Luzhniki. Germany the holders 0, Mexico 1. They've got Sweden in Sochi on Saturday night, and they will finish off against South Korea in Kazan. You never want to lose your opening game. They could be behind the 8 ball. Could the holders Germany? But they're still knocking on the door. There's some tired legs out there for Mexico. That Lozano goal in the first half. Müller scored 5 goals in his last 2 World Cup campaigns. Can't find a way through. Was there a foul there by Müller? He pleads his innocence. He might be getting a yellow card, and indeed he is.
Yes. To be fair, I'd watch this game again now. I don't know if it is utter naivety from the German defence or the fact that they've just thrown caution to the wind completely. But in this occasion, Boateng goes 20 yards into the opposition half and leaves Hernandez on his own with 20 yards of space. All he needs is any green shot to turn them round and thump the ball aimlessly, and Hernandez is through 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. It's extraordinary naivety. I know there's 10 minutes to go in the game. That's plenty of time to get a goal back. I'm amazed the way the Germans are playing this, throwing such caution to the wind.
Herrera takes the ball to feet, turns, Hernandez lays it out to Jimenez, Leún's forward, Hernandez makes the run through the middle, Herrera back towards Jimenez, keeping the ball to the delight of the Mexican supporters. Jimenez once again, there are the Olays once again inside this stadium. Oh, they've lost the ball. Boateng plays it forward, Werner had made the run, carried on now by Gomez. He's onside, Werner makes the run, left-hand side of the penalty area, Draxler provides support, infield. Here is Kroos, edging his way towards the penalty area. Kroos with a shot, spilled by the goalkeeper. No German player to follow up. Ochoa with the save.
To be fair, the pace this game's been played at, and it's a long game, if you know what I mean. It's one end to the other. The exhaustion of some of these players is incredible. By the way, the referee, get your yellow card out right this second. There's not even a slight doubt for Hummels.
That was a late challenge on the substitute Alvarez, and he's quite rightly shown a yellow card. Is Mats Hummels. That was a poor challenge in his desperation to win the ball back. Hernandez has just been getting some last bit of advice from Juan Carlos Osorio down on the bench below. Just over 6 minutes remaining. The Mexican supporters are trying to do their bit to see them over the line. It's going to be an agonising wait for Mexico to see if they can get this victory, what would be a first competitive victory over Germany.
It's absolutely extraordinary, and just that moment when Hummels takes him out there, that's exactly what you want if you're Mexico. Gives you a little bit of chance to breathe, deep breath for about a minute there. You can get the ball long, get yourself organised again. They would have been delighted by that. For Hummels, I think it was sheer stupidity, because there wasn't any real danger at that point in time for a change.
That's the voice of Pat Nevin. 5 minutes of normal time remain. There have been a number of substitutions. I reckon we're looking at 3-4 minutes of added on time to be applied by the Iranian referee. Germany are coming forward once again. Royce, far side. Ozil, 30 yards out from goal. Left-footed ball, chipped in towards the penalty area. Might come towards Werner. Takes it a touch outside the penalty box. Headed away then by Ayala. Quickly retreats back to his central defensive area. It's a Mexican wall that doesn't want to be breached. Up towards Gomez. He makes a run underneath it. Werner will make the run to collect the ball, but it runs away from him and out of play for a Mexican throw.
Yes, a Mexican throw, but it's in the worst place imaginable for Mexico. It's right by the corner flag. The referee's saying get on with it, then he's changed his mind, because the final substitution, all 6 substitutions are going to be made now.
Julian Brandt is the player who's going to be coming on. It's Werner who's come off. This is the player who was selected and chosen ahead of Leroy Sané for Bayer Leverkusen. He's had an excellent season. They require the blonde-haired midfielder to conjure up something in the dying stages of this terrific game of football.
Once again, Boateng for the umpteenth time has come straight through the back of Hernandez, but no one's got back, and away they go on the left-hand side again.
Mexico are on the attack. Jimenez is ahead of Gallardo. The left back takes it all the way around the back, works over the cross, drifts out of play. Goal kick.
do you know what? Every other team, just about, professional team, gets the ball there, heads for the corner, slow the game down, kill it. You're in the 86th minute. The rest of your team are exhausted. What does he try and do? The outrageous chip from wide. Well, it's lovely to see, but I'm not sure it's the most intelligent thing to do at this point in time.
So Brandt's taken up a position left-hand side. Draxler's in field alongside Gomez. Muller's also there. Royce is playing on the right-hand side. They have options in terms of their white shirts as Royce comes in now. Ozil back out towards Kimmich. Kimmich with a cross. Right-hand side. Gomez with a header. It's off target. Goal kick. Good chance.
You could just see him coming, and Mario Gomez at the back post there. The ball just wasn't good enough on this occasion. The defender got in front of him. Had the ball been just a yard further towards the goalkeeper, Gomez had an easy tap in there. I was going to try and explain the tactics and the systems that are out there, but there aren't any. They're just all over the place. It's just, we'll have a go at you, then every time that Germany have a go, there's a little bit of a break on from Mexico, and here's another one of those breaks.
The Mexican flags are being waved in front of those in green. A beach ball is being knocked around inside the end away to our left-hand side by the odd green shirts that are smattered in amongst where the majority of the German support is. They're not surprised to being it knocked back towards them. The Germans are in no mood to party. They have 2 minutes of normal time remaining, and they are facing defeat. The World Cup holders here in the Luzhniki Stadium. Ochoa, the goalkeeper, goes long, flicked on, up towards Leun, holds on to the ball. Alvarez now over the halfway line. A very tired Hernandez on this occasion apologises with an outstretched left hand. He's not going to chase that one. They're quick to retreat.
Just a bit of a shame though, if he puts a little bit of a chip on that, but his backspin, which he could have done there, I think Hernandez could have got onto the end, taken to the corner. Now they're under pressure yet again.
Brandt inside to Royce. Royce looks for a low ball. Little flick. Gomez works the ball back in towards the penalty area. Germany looking to try and get there. Brandt! Oh, whistles wide. Struck it first time right-footed. Just under 25 yards out from goal. I'm not too sure that the Mexican goalkeeper Ochoa would have got to that one.
We're in utter agreement there. There was no chance. What a hit that was. They're living so dangerously now, the Mexicans. No, he wasn't getting to that. I think he may have hit the outside of the post.
It kissed. In fact, no, it didn't kiss. It rattled the outside of the left-hand post. The Mexican supporters know that they are close. Inside the last 60 seconds of normal time.
Do you know, oddly enough, we have some great World Cups. Maybe we're slightly biased because we've seen two games, and by the way, there were two utter crackers that we've seen. And on top of that, Spain-Portugal. This could be a classic World Cup if it keeps on going like this.
Herrera's just been booked for Mexico, by the way. Germany are attacking. Brandt with a cross, they're queuing up in the middle. Kimmich will collect it right-hand side. They are camped outside the Mexican half. Boateng fires it in low. Ochoa makes the save. He dives on the ball. He stays in position low down before slowly getting him back to his feet.
That's a poor decision there for Boateng there. Massive amount of space in front of him there. And he can walk forward to it, or he'll try and find one of these attackers. In only 3 minutes. I'm stunned by that.
I thought there might have been a shade more. I agree with you, Pat. Boateng, we're into the 3 minutes of added on time. There is a real buzz around the Luzhniki here in Moscow. 5 Live. Brandt to Boateng. Every outfield player is in the last third of the field. Kimmich can't chip the ball over Herrera. Kimmich will run out towards the right-hand side to gather it. There is a line of white inside the penalty area just wanting the ball to be played, but Mexico are working so hard to close Germany down. They can't work over the cross. Neuer's inside the centre circle.
He wants to come up front.
Here is Kroos. Still, Mexico works so hard off the ball. Hernandez is dead on his feet. Germany are being patient. 2 minutes of added on time remain. Mexico lead by a goal to nil. Royce, right corner of the area. Here is Ozil. It's laid off. It's into the penalty area. They can't pick out Draxler. And the cheers will tell you that Ochoa has dived onto the ball. Take your time.
That was incredible, that. And that's 2 or 3 times at the end of the game here. They've got themselves into great positions, and you think they're going to play that killer pass. And they've been bad decisions, poor decision making. Well done for the Mexicans, making sure. Oh, they almost broke again there. Time and again, Kimmich against Jimenez. Kimmich has gone down there. He's lucky to get a free kick. I don't think there's much in that there. If the referee decides not to give that, he's away. Jimenez completely on his own. As it is, once again, the Germans are going to come. Surprise, surprise.
We're about to enter the last 60 seconds of added on time. Boateng launches the ball out towards the right-hand side. Müller with the cross. Alvarez heads it behind for a corner kick.
Neuer's going to come up if it's a corner kick. Neuer's desperate to get up there. He's walking, he's taking his time. He's thinking about it because he wonders whether the referee's actually given a corner kick.
Kimmich's actually saying to Neuer, you go forward, I will cover. Well, is there to be late drama? We're inside the last 60 seconds. Germany have a corner kick on this near side, the left, playing from right to left, trailing by a goal to nil. Corner comes in now, aimed towards Neuer, tries to get an outstretched leg towards it, runs away and out for a Germany throw.
And Neuer staying up, he's not going back. He's good, plays an outfield player, he's good enough to do it.
Kimmich pumps it long from the halfway line. Ochoa gathers the ball, falls to the floor. The Mexican supporters celebrate. Time is almost up. They're looking, they're pleading with the referee. Rafael Marquez, at 39 years of age, he's pleading with the referee to blow his whistle. The Mexicans are ready to celebrate. It's another story here in Moscow. Premature celebrations from the Mexican fans. Germany have a free kick, short of the halfway line. Time is up by my watch. There it is. Mexico have done it. And the World Cup holders, Germany, have been beaten. And it's the first time since 1982 that Germany have lost an opening game to a World Cup finals. Mexico celebrate, wild celebrations. They were the better side in the first half. They had to dig deep in the second. Oh, the celebrations will continue long into the night. But Germany, the defending champions, will come under real scrutiny. Pat Nevin.
Absolutely phenomenal to have been in this stadium. It was brilliant atmosphere, even from before the start of the game. But the way this game unfolded was incredible. So massively impressed by the Mexicans. And give them a due. They played 2 or 3 different types of game of football throughout this. And the manager to make these changes halfway through the second half, he decided to sit a little bit deeper, but still brave enough to leave enough players on to break. They probably should have scored 3, 4, 5 goals on the break. They didn't. They had to hang in there. And there's bodies all over the place. We talked about last night, the Iceland players almost taking it in their stride. They got 1 point against Argentina. Well, the Mexicans ain't taking it in their stride. They are celebrating this, and rightly so.
Kelly, joyous scenes inside the Luzhniki Stadium. Javier Hernandez is in tears. And still the wild celebrations all around us here are continuing. What a story. Germany 0, Mexico 1.
You're absolutely right. It's not just that emotions are running high. It's not just that these players are ecstatic. They are visibly emotional. As you said, Chicharito in tears. Lots of the players sobbing into each other's arms with relief and with excitement. Because as much, Pat Nevin, as it's about getting a surprise result, a shock result against Germany, one of the favourites coming into this tournament, the reigning world champions, this is a deserved victory for Mexico. This is no fluke.
Yeah, you're right, it's a shock. This is a complete shock result for Moscow. Yes, we talked about it before the game, and they've not been in great form, the German team. And you can see where the weaknesses are, you know. And I think everybody else throughout this tournament will look at Germany now and think, all right, so you can't get about the pitch in the midfield. We'll take that into consideration. So that's something you have to think about going forward. But you have to spot that before it happens. And you've got to say, well done, Osorio. He's spotted that the Germans are slower getting back from the midfield. I mean, I mentioned right early on in the commentary how impressed I was in a light-hearted way that they were leaving them 3 for 3 at corner kicks. 3 Mexican players up front against 3 defenders from Germany when they had a German corner. How unusual this was. And as the game panned out, I thought, wow, how impressive of the manager to know that's where the weakness was. So you're right, they broke time and time again. They only got 1 goal. They deserve to get many, many more. If they had a player who was a number 10 who could pass the right ball, like one of the great number 10s in world football just now, they would have destroyed Germany today, and they would have deserved to destroy them.
But despite that, do we have to now reassess Mexico's chances in this World Cup? I'm not saying they're going to be one of the favourites, but do we need to kind of assess our predictions of how they might get on?
I think a lot of people will. I agree with you completely. I mean, if they can play with that pace, and there's no reason why they shouldn't. Yeah, I know it's a hard tournament, but all the way through this, this section, I mean, look at what they've got next. They've got Sweden next, and they've got South Korea next. Come on, they've got to have a great chance of getting out of the group. And as soon as you're out of the group, then you know anything can happen. So if they get a chance, maybe if they could win their next game and go into the third game without putting that level of energy and maybe rest a little bit, because you cannot play 6-7 games at that pace and be the same at the end as you are at the start. It simply cannot be done at the end of the season. So it will mean at some point certain players are rested. But if they manage to do that, yeah, absolutely, why not? I will leave the one question there. Is the manager brave enough to keep on doing it? Probably yes. Have they got the guy who can pick out that final pass? They need to get that, because they won't get 7, 8, 9, 10 opportunities in every game like they did today. So maybe that's the one area where there is a weakness, but let's not dwell on that tonight, because there were so many positives for the Mexicans.
Yeah, just seen pictures coming in of Guillermo Ochoa, the goalkeeper for Mexico, who also had a fantastic game against Germany, and that 1-0 win for Mexico. European football expert and actual German Raphael Honigstein joins us on the line now from inside the Luzhniki Stadium. Rafa, are these problems that can be fixed by Joachim Löw, by the German players?
Yes, I think the short answer is yes, but it needs a lot of change, a lot of tactical change, but a change of mentality. This Germany team today turned up and thought they could just control the game and stroll the ball around and not worry so much about protecting the back four, because they have the ball and Mexico not going to really hurt them. And I think that was one major mistake that they took almost 50 minutes to rectify. Okay, Mexico ran out of steam a little bit. Germany ended up playing the game that they wanted to play in the first half, but there was no cutting edge. The final ball wasn't quite there, and they've got an issue in midfield, because with Khedira and Kroos, I think their lack of pace in transition when they lose the ball is not going to bode well when it comes to defending the trophy. And we were going to talk about Brazil as the looming spectre for this group. Whoever finishes in second at this point, Germany shouldn't even think about this, because they've got 2 hard games coming up and they need to improve a lot.
Leroy Sané, Raf, should he be here?
Personally, I would have taken him. Nothing to do with today's result or today's performance. I think that a system that doesn't accommodate Leroy Sané perhaps needs to be a bit more flexible. Having said that, I understand Löw's decision, because Sané has never really fit in properly and still looked a little bit impatient, a little bit raw whenever he came on. He's played 12 games for Germany. I think if you today grab any of the really disappointed Germans inside the stadium, they'll talk a lot about players who didn't play or should have done better, but I think the name Leroy Sané is not going to come up.
Rafa, Kelly, do you mind to pass Rafa? I mean, I'm looking at that just now, and if I'm other teams such as Brazil, such as maybe even England or whatever, you look at that Germany side and you think, we see their weaknesses now. From their side, we've rarely spotted weaknesses. They are so glaring out now. That must be a big worry for Germany going forward.
It is a worry. I mean, it reminded me a little bit of the Ghana game. I think I mentioned it earlier in 2014 when Germany were all over the place. It ended up a draw, so nobody really saw it as a big decisive game, but after that Germany played a lot more conservative in midfield. And in 2014 the big innovation, if you want, for Joachim Löw was to play 3 midfielders, and 1 would hold and 2 would play in turns. Right now he's wedded to that idea with 2 midfielders, none of whom is a defensively minded midfielder, and Khedira, in my view, does not have the legs to play that box-to-ball box role effectively anymore, and I think Löw has got some serious thinking to do.
Do you have to bring Kimmich in there? Is it he the obvious one to bring in there who's got a little bit of legs and he can play that role?
He'd be amazing, but then you've got a problem in right back, because you've got no one at his level on that side. So there is a serious issue, and of course if Germany as champions lose their first game, you can understand the kind of recriminations and all the negativity that's going to come into this game. The pressure is really now on over the next few days.
Disappointment and recriminations to come. How's it been for you today, Raf?
I was just thinking about getting home early, perhaps earlier than I expected from this tournament. And when he said actual German, my wife is British and my kids are British, so I might
I was only joking.
No, I'm just saying I might just see who they support. Maybe I can jump on the bandwagon.
just switch allegiances. It's been that bad today. But look, Germany lost a group game in 2010 against Serbia, went on to reach the semi-finals. There is potential for this German side to go on and still achieve in this World Cup. It's just one game, isn't it, Raf?
It is just one game, but I don't think the result is the issue, the performances. Because the performance problems that we saw today is not just going to be a magic one. It's not a game that you lose because you dominate and you made some silly mistake and the opposition punished you. This was a kind of systematic failure of Germany's game. Germany's game broke down in the first half, and I think it takes a lot more than just thinking, okay, everything's going to be all right in the second half. In the second game or the third game, they really need to sit down and sort this out very quickly.
Raphael Honigstein, thank you very much for joining us. We'll leave you to your own thoughts now on Germany's 1-0 defeat by a Mexican side who looked very impressive in the Luzhniki Stadium today. Thank you very much to Pat Nevin and to Ian Dennis too for taking you through that game. We will of course have much more reaction to that throughout the evening here on 5 Live Sport, and then at 7 o'clock it's live commentary of Brazil against Switzerland from Rostov-on-Don, and with the team news it's Alistair Bruce-Ball.
Hi there, Kelly. Welcome to the Rostov Arena, which sits right on the banks of the giant River Don. I'm watching thousands of Brazilian fans streaming into the stadium right now in those familiar canary yellow shirts with the green trim. And as Rafa Honigstein was just mentioning there, the possibility already of a last 16 meeting, possibly between Brazil and Germany. Were Germany to finish runners-up in their group? Were Brazil to win this group? I just wonder whether those Brazilian fans of a pessimistic nature after what happened in the Maracanã 4 years ago are slightly concerned about that. First things first for them, though, Switzerland tonight in the Rostov Arena. Team news is in. Brazil arrive here in magnificent form, just one defeat in their last 21 games. No real surprises in the lineups. Alisson in goal for Brazil. Danilo at right back. Dani Alves is missing, injured. Marcelo skippers the side at left back. Miranda and Thiago Silva the centre backs. Casemiro in front of them. Paulinho and Coutinho ahead of him in central midfield. Willian, Neymar and Gabriel Jesus. Switzerland, by the way, also come here in great form. They've only lost one of their last 22 games. Very settled team, very well drilled. Jan Sommer in goal. A back four of Stefan Lichtsteiner, Ricardo Rodriguez, key men as the full-backs. Manuel Akanji and Fabian Schär are the centre-backs. Berami and Granit Xhaka ahead of them. Steven Zuber, Blerim Gemaili, the key man Xherdan Shaqiri, and Haris Seferovic starts up front.
Ali, thank you very much. We will rejoin the commentary team from 7 o'clock. We'll build up to that game from 6:30 here on 5 Live Sport. And, of course, we'll keep you up to date with everything that's happening in the US Open. It's the final day at Shinnecock Hills. Here's Ian Carter.
What more conducive to lower scoring, Kelly, on this final day compared with yesterday, and a string of English players taking advantage at this stage. Tommy Fleetwood's picked up 2 birdies in his first 4 holes. Paul Casey 2 birdies in his first 3 holes, and Matthew Fitzpatrick has birdied the first and parred the second. They've all moved to 7 over par. That's within 4 shots of the lead. Remember, it's Daniel Berger, Tony Finau, Brooks Koepka and Dustin Johnson out in front. They're all at 3 over par, with Justin Rose just 1 shot behind. They're all yet to tee off.
It's also the first One Day Cup semi-final. That continues at New Road between Worcestershire and Kent. Here's Kevin Howells.
And Kent require 307 to book what will be their first Lord's appearance in 10 years in a final. They're 277 for 6. Perhaps the difference is going to be the South African Heine Kuhn. He's 114 not out, his 4th century in the competition this season, but they've just lost the wicket of the hard-hitting, thunderous-hitting Alex Blake. He's just gone for 61. 307 the target. Spitfires 277 for 6, up to 46 overs.
Tonight here on 5 Live Sport, we're going to be looking ahead to England's match against Tunisia tomorrow with Danny Murphy and Terry Butcher. We'll also continue to have a reaction to Germany's 1-0 defeat by Mexico. And, of course, we'll be talking about that performance by Mexico as well. Can they continue to do that throughout that group, which looks like it could be one of the more interesting ones at the World Cup? Sweden and South Korea also involved. They're in action tomorrow. It's the early kickoff, 1 o'clock UK time for that one. We'll be able to see what kind of competition they have in Group F. So, England-Tunisia preview to come, reaction to Germany against Mexico, all of that after the BBC News.
On digital, online, smartphone and tablet, this is BBC 5 Live.
With the 5 Live News, I'm Nick Hatfield. Labour is questioning the government's announcement of an extra £20 billion for the NHS in England by 2023. Theresa May says it'll be partly funded by a Brexit dividend. Here's the former Labour spin doctor, Alistair Campbell.
The Office for Budget Responsibility set out a paper. They thought the economic hit from leaving the EU will lead to the government having much less money to spend overall. Brexit is going to mean less money for the National Health Service, not more. And it's just another lie to pretend that this is some sort of great dividend and bonus out of Brexit.
A Conservative MP who blocked a bill that would have made upskirting a criminal offence insists he isn't against the idea. Sir Christopher Chope says he was objecting to parliamentary procedure rather than the law itself. The bill would have seen someone taking a photo up a woman's skirt face up to 2 years in prison. Police divers have found the bodies of a father and son in a canal in Huddersfield. It's believed they were trawling the water for metal objects when they died. Their deaths are not being treated as suspicious. The Taliban have rejected calls to extend a 3-day ceasefire in Afghanistan for Eid. It comes as at least 18 people were killed in a suicide attack in the city of Jalalabad. The blast happened outside a government building where officials were meeting Taliban insurgents as part of the ceasefire. Hundreds of migrants rescued 8 days ago off the coast of Libya have arrived in Spain. They've been registered and are receiving medical treatment. The Spanish government agreed to take them in after Italy and Malta turned them away. And architecture experts say it may not be possible to save part of the Glasgow School of Art after this weekend's fire. It's been suggested a replica of the Mackintosh building could be built on the site. Stuart Robertson is the director of the Charles Rennie Mackintosh Society.
I hope it can be restored, and I think there's enough information from all the work that's been done on the restoration and the intimate aspects of the digital filming of the building that there's enough information to recreate the building.
Stuart Robertson from the Charles Rennie Mackintosh Society.
5 Live Sports.
The FIFA World Cup Russia.
The whole thing is exciting. This is the opportunity for them to make a name for themselves.
You go into every tournament and every game to try and win it.
If we believe in ourselves, then we can achieve anything.
England face Tunisia, Monday, 7 o'clock kickoff.
Walker's cross to the near post. Kane is there! And England score! Rashford just outside the box, shoots in!
The FIFA World Cup.
On 5 Live and across the BBC. From BBC 5 Live, this is the World Cup Daily Podcast.
Hello, welcome to our World Cup Daily Podcast. It's me, Kelly Cates, today. Unfortunately, TV's Mark Chapman far too busy getting selfies with Didier Drogba and Zlatan Ibrahimovic, but he will be returning soon. You can subscribe to our podcast wherever you get them from on your phone, and you will get an episode every day featuring the best analysis, the biggest games, and some of the stranger tales from Russia. We've already heard about Nigerian chickens being banned from stadia, and Peter Odemwingi's mum bidding for an invite onto the podcast, but today, well, we just have to make do with a pair of former England internationals. Hello, Terry Butcher and Danny Murphy.
Good evening. Hi there.
Now, Danny, we haven't spoken to you yet on the podcast. Are you enjoying Russia? How long have you been in Moscow for? What's been happening? Tell us about your life, Danny.
I came in a few days ago, settled in, and then went straight off to Sochi for that wonderful game, Spain-Portugal.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe the heat there, the humidity. It actually made me think that the game might be a bit cautious, which obviously it wasn't.
Clearly the right prediction.
What a bad prediction that was. But it was a fantastic game to be at. It really was sensational, and that man Ronaldo kind of lit the firework into the World Cup, because after that, it just kind of made you realise why what we're doing here, why we're here, what the expectation is. That for me, seeing something amazing, and we've already seen one of the best games.
Do you think this is starting to evolve as a really special World Cup then so far?
Well, I think
especially with today's game, especially with
the Mexican game. Yeah, well, I think someone was saying earlier they've had no nil-nil so far, no sendings off, more goals, and I think the the manner in which it's been played. It's been really positive.
It's end-to-end stuff, really.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be too many teams that aren't thinking, well, we'll have a go. There's been drama and everything, and long may it continue.
Yeah, it does feel like there's an air of tension in pretty much all the games. They could go either way. And like you said, it's all about the big moments, the big players. Cristiano Ronaldo getting a hat-trick against Spain, stories like that. And it's also about the smaller teams coming out and giving a surprise. And there's always one team that kind of comes to the fore throughout it. Plus, of course, everybody at home is going to be waiting for England against Tunisia. It's here on 5 Live Sport and on BBC One, kicking off 7 o'clock Monday. Terry, did you ever get nervous as a player ahead of these games?
Yeah, if you don't have nerves, then something's wrong. I think you're not approaching it the right way. I had nerves, tried to let off a bit of steam, shouted, ranted and raved, head butted the wall a few times, kicked the wall. But apart from that, I was quite calm.
Metaphorically headbutting the wall or genuinely headbutting the wall?
Well, I've been known to headbutt a few things, not players, but that was my way of doing it. Gary Lineker would just sit there and, not smoke a cigarette, but he'd be just about laid back.
Well, Gary Lineker and Alan Shearer said they didn't get nervous before big games.
I think it's a balance between nerves and excitement. I mean, there's only one game I really look back on in my whole career, which was the first time I played at Barcelona, and I thought the nerves did overcome me in terms of taking away my energy.
Yeah, well, you got your adrenaline came in too quick.
Yeah.
And it drains you.
Yeah, it drains you, and you have to be very wary of that. But the one thing I'd say, even with this inexperienced England side, in terms of international games and caps and tournament experience, they're playing in huge games now. Massive games broadcast all over the world, in Europe, domestically. I mean, if you see someone like Lingard, for example, he's scoring in huge games in cup final. He's standing up to the plate. Harry Kane doesn't seem to matter where he plays. I think Sterling will benefit from what he's learned under Pep, and the intensity in which he now plays is different. So even though they're inexperienced at, say, World Cups, as it were, they're not inexperienced of dealing with big games and how you channel your nerves or excitement, because it is a fine balance.
Yeah, and as a player, you have some control over it. I mean, even amongst the team here at the Red Square studio, some people are already starting to get really nervous as fans, mentioning no names, Pam. They're starting to get very, very giddy about the whole thing. Do you get nervous as a fan more so because you can't control it, or do you feel like you've already lived through that?
Yeah, I think I do. I think, especially the way the game goes sometimes, you want England to so badly to do well. And you think, well, if you're going to go a goal up, you sort of think, well, are we going to concede? And you tend to think the negatives, because you can't have an influence on the game. You can't do anything about it. And as some people say, it's like watching a car crash with England, especially because you think, oh no, if it can happen, it will happen. So, but I look at it now, and with this squad, and I'm thinking there's a different approach now. It seems to me as if you say, well, go on, boys, let's have a go. I mean, we've seen Mexico have a go, and you sort of think, well, why can't England have a go? Because all the fancy teams so far in the World Cup in their opening games haven't cut the mustard yet. They're not into their groove yet. They're not really, there's not many cylinders are firing for them, which gives everybody hope. And I think it sometimes benefits you if you're not playing at the start of the competition. You're well into the 5th, 6th, 7th day, like England are. And you've had a look at the World Cup and you think, well, I want to be a part of that, and I want to make it as exciting when people watch England play as well.
Are you a nervous spectator, Danny?
I was nervous if I was, say, injured or on the bench, and if you don't win or the players aren't doing something right, that you might not get through to the next round or some of your throwaway points, because you can still have an influence, or you can in the next round have an influence. As a fan watching Liverpool, Fulham, England now, it can be a bit, but not the same. I remember watching Liverpool as a kid and being horrendously nervous, like literally desperate for them to win. And then you kind of get through that as a player. But watching as a player for me was the worst one. If I was injured or on the bench, that was the time where, when you're in the middle of it, because you're so focused on the job in hand, it can be the last minute. You're just, who've I got a mark? Where am I supposed to be? It's not so much what's going to happen if they score. Whereas when you're on the bench, you feel the tension. But I think this group of England players has got a real freshness, a hunger about it, and in a weird way, they've been playing quite carefree. I think there looks to be a freedom which we haven't seen too often, because so many of them aren't part of the recent failures that we've had. So I think that's really encouraging, and all our best players really are in the final third of the pitch. So we've got to have a go.
Yeah,
I think we've got to.
Yeah.
So England are going to, you hope, have a go against Tunisia, but
they'll beat them.
The holders will come. We'll come back. We'll talk about them in a bit more detail. But we have to. Don't record it. Do you know we are in a studio with microphones, headsets, recording equipment. All that stuff is all around.
Oh, we're on.
Never a private thought in here, Danny. But Germany losing 1-0 to Mexico. What a game that was. I mean, Terry, you were watching it here in the studio with me. It was just a fantastic game, wasn't it?
Yeah, one of the best games I've ever seen in my life. Germany losing doesn't get much better than it.
You wanted to put the scoreline on our wall chart, didn't you?
Yeah, I was given the honour to do that. Yeah, it was lovely. Yeah. So Germany had no plan B. I've got it written down here. They had no clear chances. They had no defensive intelligence, and they've got no points. It's lovely, isn't it?
Well, I actually really like your honesty there, because I was really desperate for Mexico to win as well. And I think I spoke yesterday and a few people kind of turned their nose up a little bit. I think Germany, even in the last World Cup, got a bit fortunate. Defensively weren't brilliant. Remembered against Ghana in the group, they should have lost. They were lucky, and I think it was Algeria in their extra time. They could have lost that one. The French game, they won on a set play, the French report. Even the final with the Higuain chance and Messi chance. Don't get me wrong, they've got great players, and they consistently know how to get to the final stages of tournaments, so they deserve credit for that. But I said yesterday about their lack of legs. Khedira's not had his best season. Kroos, who's probably one of the best holding midfield players I've ever seen in terms of creating, tempo and dictating play, but he needs legs around him. He hasn't got it. Ozil's not the quickest, doesn't want to defend. Muller doesn't run back and help his fullback. Why Sane's not there, I'll never know in a million years. Cut his nose off to spite his face, the manager there. And the fullbacks are so high, they're isolating the centre-halves against a side that are fit and got legs, and they just played right into Mexico's hands. And it wasn't as if any of them, they're experienced players. You'd have felt someone in that German side would have said to a couple of them, can you just stay here and help me out for 5 minutes?
Yeah, you would.
Get your distances.
But I think there's an arrogance there to say, well, we're not going to lose the ball, so I won't bother. And the German defenders ended up just watching what they play down the other end, and the Mexican players just drifted off into little spaces. And then when Mexico won the ball, the plan was get it forward as quick as you can, because you got 2-on-2 virtually, and that's what the Germans were leaving 2-on-2. That's when I say no defensive intelligence. You've got to tighten things up when you haven't got the ball to make sure that if the move breaks down, then you can clear up the ball. But what you have to do is communicate and you say pull people about, but they didn't want to do that. They thought, we're going to win anyway, or they're going to keep the ball.
It'll change.
Yeah, I don't have to do that.
Well, I think also as well, although Germany did play very naively for that first half, they got better, but Mexico were fantastic. I mean, they didn't just run around and press. They played some really intricate, good football on the break, on the counters. And with a bit more composure in the final third on the 3-on-2s and the 4v3s, they could have been comfortable winners, not just winners.
But they got off to a good start, didn't they? They attacked and then surprised them. And we were talking before in the programme about, new tactics and all these new systems. There's no new system. It's how the players apply the system that they're given to work in. But they had to go straight away. They had a couple of good chances right in the first 2 or 3 minutes, and that set the tempo. And that should have worried Germany. That's the worrying thing for the manager and the management team. They didn't seem rattled. They didn't seem to stir and come. And we were talking. Did the real Germany turn up? Well, I don't think they ever really did.
Well, have they got the capability in the squad, the Germans, to be able to compete with that type of running power and energy and technical ability is the question. I don't think they could have done anything other than dropped off. And as you say, playing against Mexico, I don't think they would have thought we're going to drop off and condense space. They just kept saying, well, we'll get through. Actually, in the last 15-20 minutes, they dominated and had a couple of chances very near the end. But other than that, they didn't cause them too many problems. I actually think it's a balance today. Wonderful game of football, but a balance between Germany naive, lack of energy and legs. But Mexico, superb. Really, really good team, well organised. Hunger. I mean, they look pace, yeah. And actually, the manager, they've had a really good. They had a good qualification, didn't they, Mexico? That we shouldn't be that surprised.
No, we shouldn't be that surprised, but they were coming up against the world champions and one of the favourites for this competition. One of the things that they did was leave 3 players on the halfway line when they were defending from set pieces, and Pat Nevin started off in the commentary, Terry, by saying this was incredibly brave of Mexico, but as the game grew on, he thought it's perfect. They've spotted where the weakness is for Germany, and they've exploited it. Was it bravery? Was it just a brilliant idea?
Well, it's bravery, but you know the players have to buy into that as well, because there's a tendency to say, well, I'm worried and I'll drop back. But they did. When they cleared their lines from the corner, they broke very quickly, and there was other people coming to support the front men. But it is brave. It's not a new tactic, but if you're prepared to put it on this stage against the world champions, then somebody would say, well, you're mad. But actually, he's very brave. But they made it work very well. And let's go back to the point. The Germans just, they didn't do much about it. But it does put an overemphasis on the back four defenders to do their jobs properly. It only takes one man to do his job half correctly, and the bravery and everything else goes out of the window. But they didn't. They stuck to their guns really well. Brave defending. The goalkeeper looked immense.
He was good.
Ochoa, very, very good. And it would have taken something special to beat him. But the Germans didn't have that something special.
The 3 men up thing. There's a couple of reasons why you do it and don't do it sometimes. Now, some defenders of teams like more space to defend, as in you get your 3 or 4 best, and they don't want anyone else around, so you don't get as many blockers, and they'll leave us leave them, we'll get them away, we'll cope. Because any decent side will drop 1. If you leave 3, they'll put 4 back, or 3 at a screen. They're not going to only leave 2 back generally if you leave 3 up. So with the Mexican side not being the biggest, and the German side tends to, that's a big, strong, athletic team. It was really clever in the fact that what they've done is they've lessened the numbers of big lads in the box. So Mexico's few bigger ones that they had were fine, and they weren't overloaded at big against small. And I think that's the thinking behind it, because Mexico aren't as big as Germany. And how can we get... We're going to get done otherwise. So let's even it up, put them out, they'll have to drop some back, and then all of a sudden Mexico's 3 or 4 big uns are coping with Germany's 3 big uns. And that's probably why they did it, but it was still brave.
So it wasn't an attacking tactic, it was one that was giving them a bit more space to...
No, I'm thinking outside the box.
A better chance to, yeah.
I've done it before at teams where it looks like you're attacking. You're not.
Yeah,
you're trying to even up the big boys because you haven't got enough big ones. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
So it's a different way of looking
Otherwise,
at it.
I end up marking Terry. Well,
yeah.
I'd have to get a bit older, but I'd
like that.
No, but you know what?
How old you are?
You know what I mean? You must have managed teams where you look at their side and you think.
Yeah.
I mean, Tony Pulis' Stoke side were really big, strong teams, and actually in set play sometimes you think we can't match them. So what can we do to make this more easy for our lads?
Because I saw the corner. I was on the TV. I saw the corner for Germany, and I was thinking, well, they've only got 3 in the box. And I think, well, why have they only got 3 in the box? Yeah, well, they've obviously left 3 players up, or 2 or 3 players up, or how many it was. Because then but then it can work against you, because if you're 3 or 4, or whatever numbers you've got in the box, because there's so much space, and if they're good at attacking the ball and the delivery's right, then you stand a better chance of scoring. So
the lesser of 2 evils, though, isn't it? The lesser of 2 evils, because even though it might be harder to defend, you'd back yourself. I'm assuming against one-on-one. You haven't got those bodies in your way, and actually, if you've got 6 in there, and only 4 of your lads match up size-wise, you're actually giving yourself the 2 lads who can't cope, and you're marking someone bigger and stronger. You're actually making it harder for yourself.
Well, to come back as well to Leroy Sané, because you said you can't believe that he's not in the Germany squad for this World Cup, Danny. But would he have made a difference in this game?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he gives them balance. He's got that. He's one of the quickest players I've ever seen. His end product's got really good. He's better than what they've got. Simple as that. He is better than what is on the pitch for them in any of the positions. And I think what Lowe has done with his amazing success over the years, he has used his power to say, actually, I'm going to make a point here. He missed the Confederations Cup, didn't he? Which probably didn't do him any favours with his nose operation or whatever. He's probably walked into the camp a little bit. Young player of the year, just been at Man City, won the league with a bit of swag. And actually, he's probably thought, I'm not having this. Now, you could admire that, but you are talking about a wonderfully gifted footballer who gives you something that none of the other players... I'm amazed that some of the senior players, Germany, didn't go and see the manager.
But he would have been good in the last 10, 15 minutes, because they were tiring badly, weren't they?
But even Mexicans. From the start, I mean, you can't compare the other 2 lads who played. I mean, Muller and Draxler couldn't lace his boots. Talk about Muller's experience and all that. Fine, he can nick a goal, but in terms of who would you rather play against? Well,
it's Sané. I mean, he can go inside and outside, and his actual assists and his quality of ball in the box would have caused mayhem.
I think the senior players would have been quietly fuming that he wasn't put in the squad, because it's detrimental to them.
Let's talk about one of the players who is there, who did play today, and who got 4.7 on the BBC Sport Player Rater, which of course you can do for every player in every match at the World Cup if you go on the BBC Sport website. Mesut Ozil.
Right.
It may not come as a surprise to some of the Arsenal fans that he can put in a performance like this. What did you make of him in this game, Danny?
Well, I think isolating him is unfair because there was the collective performance was poor, and he's playing. Ozil is playing in front of Kroos and Khedira, who aren't particularly athletic. Now you could argue they should get him plenty of the ball, but it's hard to shine in a team that were flat and overran and not playing well. But what Ozil is somebody who can disappear for parts in the game and then still create that magic moment to get you back in. And he did play one or two passes where you think, oh, nearly, there he is. But when you've got the reputation and the quality he's got, you're always going to have question marks over your performance when you've lost in a game you should win. And, we've got this thing about Ozil, haven't we? We shouldn't say we, English. We tend to jump on him a lot, but there was worse performances. I mean, the back four, as Terry alluded to earlier, no communication, no protecting themselves. I mean, Hummels, I think it was, for the goal. He comes flying out, dives in. He more or less walked back while they were attacking.
It was actually Ozil that was marking the scorer.
Well, there you go.
It was Ozil that got done on the because he went to block him, and then Lozano came inside him and scored. It was Ozil that got back. That was amazing.
But in answer to your question, I mean, he didn't play well, but I still think he'd be in their team for the next game and could well produce the killer pass that wins them the game.
He's a World Cup winner, and he's got absolute quality. You've got Kroos who can make the long passes, but Ozil's just that bit of finesse around the edge of the box.
Yeah.
What they needed was somebody else, not Khedira, somebody else in there with legs to get about and get the ball to them.
I wonder if there's a difference of opinion and a difference of perspective between a midfielder and a defender in this. And that, we talked during the game, Terry, when we were watching it, about the fact that the defence were left quite exposed. The German defence, there was a lot asked of them.
Yeah, but they were so deep. That's why they left them. So if you're that exposed,
it wasn't the midfielder's fault, was it? Danny?
No, it is. No, you either tell the midfielders.
Yeah.
I've had loads of centre halves say to me, "Where you get here?"
Yeah.
Because they're not going to go. They don't want to expose themselves. But when your midfielders aren't, you've got to take a risk and go up because you're just getting isolated the whole time. If you can't get the midfielder back to help you, you're going to have to do something. Get your fullbacks in even. Fullbacks were playing like wingbacks.
It was 2-on-2 a lot of the time.
Yeah.
In fact, there was sometimes when it was 3-on-2 against. Yeah, but what you do because you have no pace and the two centre halves haven't got pace, you drop deep and you just say, well, look, have the ball in front of us, and hopefully someone will come back. Yeah. But if you haven't got that communication between the back four and the two centre halves and the midfield player, then you're always going to get caught, and they got caught time after time after time. And as you say, better players for Mexico, quality passes, and they could have scored. They could have scored a hatful. It really could. So, but I'm sure that he'll look at that, Löw, and he'll say, well, do we need to change? Maybe that arrogance will come back to say, well, it's a one-off, it's a blip, it's first time since whatever, and blah 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 blah. We'll be all right the next two games. But they're in danger. They could well be in danger of like hitting a low or the low performance and not being able to rise and not being able to get up there. But I wouldn't have thought so because these guys are fantastic players.
They'll bounce back, I think.
Yeah,
I hope not.
But who got it wrong against Mexico? Was it the manager or was it the players who got it wrong against Mexico?
I think it's just everyone. It's a collective acceptance. They should all say, right, hands up. We've got it wrong. We have to put it right now. So maybe it's a wake-up call that they needed after their poor form before.
Yeah, the second half was better tempo from them. You could tell they'd had a rocket.
Better passing, yeah.
And they didn't give away. I mean, a lot of Germany's actual problems in the first half, although Mexico did break a couple of times nicely, they gave away the ball sloppily in dangerous areas, which unlike them. But the second half, everything was a bit crisper. Everyone was running a bit more. The movement, they'd had a little rocket. I would imagine the next game you're going to see a much brighter start from the Germans.
If you are enjoying this episode of the World Cup Daily Podcast as much as Terry and Danny enjoyed Mexico's 1-0 win over Germany, then remember to subscribe. You'll get a new episode delivered to your phone every morning, featuring the best analysis and a little bit of the more unusual side of Russia. We do love a review as well. Please keep them coming in, especially if they're nice ones. Thanks to Nigel Legend Plum, who listens to the pod while working out in the gym. Hopefully it motivates him. Sea Hunter 7 is downloading in Singapore every day. Ben Copley describes this podcast as consistently excellent, although to be fair, there. Chappers has been mainly doing it. And Matt Adkin asks, why is Mark Chapman so entertaining on Twitter? Well, he can't do it in real life.
He doesn't do his own account.
He has to write it down.
He doesn't do his own account, that's right. He doesn't.
He's getting there, but he's not quite at the level where he's got somebody to manage his account for him. We will ask him for you, though, Matt, next time he's on the pod. See if Chappers has got a better interview, better answer than that one to it. So also, Serbia beat Costa Rica 1-0 thanks to a brilliant free kick from Alexander Kolarov. Better than Ronaldo's, Danny?
No, not better. Super technique, but not better because of the timing. You know, the pressure based. The pressure. There was no pressure on it. It was 0-0. And if the wall jumped in tandem, they'd have stopped Kolarov's. I don't think Ronaldo's was stoppable. Although, don't get me wrong, Kolarov's free kick was superb, but there was nowhere near the same pressure on it and the world watching and trying to drag your team back into a game. But they deserved it. They did deserve it. It wasn't a brilliant performance, but they had some good chances. I think they're just lacking in the final third a little bit. They needed a lot of chances to, you know, they missed a lot of chances.
There's a lot of countries that are struggling to put the ball in the back of their. They are making the chances. I mean, defensively, this World Cup has been a shambles, really. Defensively, lots of chances, lots of goals, if you're going to look at it that way. But, hey, you know, if you're looking at being a purist World Cup, it could be one of the best World Cups because the defences are poor, because there's lots of goals going in.
To swarming with managers and scouts and agents trying to get their players out and move. Lots of transfer speculation around the Serbian midfielder Sergej Milinkovic-Savic. Suggestions that Real Madrid are ready to pay £130 million after his breakthrough season at Lazio. The evidence of this game, what we've seen from him, to argue that any person is worth that is a sort of moot point. But given what people are sort of moving for at the moment, is he worth, in inverted commas, 130 million?
No, that's an exaggerated fee. He's a talented lad, but no, is a simple answer to that. But, you know, I mean, there are some ridiculous fees going about, but I certainly wouldn't be paying that for him.
It's not savvy to sign Savic for that amount of money.
No. Anybody.
Not business Savic. No. Danny, you know we have obviously as an avid listener of the podcast, you will know that we have the sweepstake where everybody's got to read out pick out who is going to be their team. So I got Colombia. Shearer and Lineker came in.
What do you win?
Respectively.
Do you win it?
Peter Odemwingi's got Brazil. No, you get to support a team throughout the World Cup, and you get a team that potentially might win the World Cup. If you pick up one of the lesser teams, I'm not really sure what's in it there. Pat Nevin's got Iceland. Who else? Guillaume Balaguer's got Nigeria. They
were good, Iceland.
Yeah,
really impressed with them.
Yeah, they've carried on, haven't they? They've picked up from the Euros.
England aren't that bad after all, are they?
No. Anybody got Croatia?
Not yet. I can't see Croatia anywhere. No, Croatia's still to go. Go on then, Danny. Close your eyes, because you can actually see the pieces of paper a bit open.
I can't.
Please, Saudi Arabia.
Oh, I've got two.
Oh, you?
Sorry.
There you go. Put it back. Go. Well, there can't have been a good two then.
There weren't.
No, there was no.
Who have you got? So Danny Murphy's team is Croatia.
Hey, I'm happy with that.
After all of that, Mystic Tell, we're in.
I'm happy. Yeah, dark
What do you
horses.
think then? You'll be able to see them in not long now until we
well, they played, didn't they? Was it yesterday?
Played against, They played yesterday.
Won. They were very good
against Nigeria. So you'll be able. When are they next in action?
And I like the kit.
You should know this.
I like the kit, so
They're
I can
against
always wear the top,
Argentina
can't I?
on Thursday.
Argentina.
That's the thing. That's the thing. If you get a team with a good kit, then you can support them. So we'll put that on the board. We'll make sure you've got it. But the thing is, they did look good in their game. But most teams have looked like they've got something to offer, haven't they? Most teams have looked like they're going to score goals. There's only a couple of them, as you said earlier, Danny, who look as though they're not.
Well, there's always a freshness at the beginning of the tournament where everyone's excited, and you would think that every team's got everyone ready, tank full, if you like, really giving it all. The third game can sometimes be a little bit flatter in the fact that some teams are already done. Therefore there's not the same, I don't know, like the same kind of zest or zip in the play, if you like, because they know they're going home. But I think there's a lot of teams at the minute who really fancy themselves to do better than we think they're going to do, if that makes sense. Because really, as Terry alluded to earlier, which is right, the big teams we've seen so far have not put the fear of God into anybody. I mean, I say that, if it wasn't for Ronaldo, I thought some of the Spanish football was incredible. Being there.
Second half.
Well, even first half.
Well, there was
20
bits
minutes.
in the first half, wasn't there?
There was bits. I mean, down that left side, Isco was on fire. Iniesta was doing his bits, and the little bits of pass. But the second half, they had a spell where, you know, when you're kind of thinking this is going to be hard for anyone to play against, because Portugal were dead on the feet really until the free kick. I know with one goal in it, you've always got a chance, but they were done. They were gone, and even the subs that come on. I mean, Thiago. How's he not getting in the team? He's getting everybody else's team. Incredible. Yeah. So they're going to be, even though they drew the game, De Gea's mistake, Ronaldo's wonderful goal, I think Spain still showed lots of quality. Although, again, gave away chances.
Yeah. Defences again, it's the way it is. But every game, apart from the Saudi game, the first game, the Russia-Saudi game, every game's has had something in it going into the last few seconds, going to the final whistle, which is what you want at this stage.
Yeah.
But what we don't want is another England display in the last game like it was in 2014 when they're out of the competition. I mean, I'm not saying England, but a team that faces that's a disaster.
Well, what we want for England really is a great first half and then a boring, comfortable second half, don't we? We want a 2 or 3-0 first half, amazing performance, and then second half we're just bored because it's done. The game's done. That'll do.
Yeah. Can they do that against Tunisia? Do you think, Terry?
No. Can we do it against anyone?
Is that a fan speaking or an analyst speaking?
Was everything speaking? Yeah, it's the hope that kills you, they say. But Tunisia, they're not a bad team.
Not bad.
They're not bad a team. They've got a good lot of young players in that team.
They'll be fit. Yeah. They'll be organised. I think the first 20 minutes is going to be, that's tough. But we're going to have to wear them down with our quality.
Yeah. But people say that they're going to park the bus, but they don't do that. They don't play that way. They play it out from the back, good passing side, good on the counter-attack, good pace. So they could make it tough, but which is what England really want. The team to come out. If a team comes out like that, then bang, they can get behind them because we've got a good pace as well.
England take on Tunisia, kick-off at 7 o'clock. You'll be able to listen to that live on 5 Live Sport, and it's on BBC Television as well. Coming up, we're going to talk about Brazil against Switzerland. First chance to see Brazil in action in this World Cup. We'll preview that, and then it's kick-off at 7 o'clock UK time after the BBC News with Nick Hatfield.
On digital, online, smartphone and tablet, this is BBC 5 Live.
A Conservative MP has rubbished a suggestion that a Brexit dividend can be used to partly fund a £20 billion increase in funding for the NHS in England. Dr Sarah Wollaston, who's chair of the Health and Social Care Committee, described the idea as tosh, accusing the government of using populist arguments rather than evidence. The ship at the centre of a migration debate in Europe has arrived in the Spanish port of Valencia. The Aquarius was turned away by Italy and Malta after it rescued more than 600 people off the coast of Libya. A Conservative MP says he's been scapegoated after objecting to a bill that would have made upskirting a criminal offence. Sir Christopher Chope says he wholeheartedly supports such a law, but was protesting about parliamentary procedure. And experts have estimated the potential cost of rebuilding the Glasgow School of Art could be more than £100 million. It was gutted by fire on Friday and had already been refurbished after another fire 4 years ago.
Robbie Savage's World Cup Breakfast.
Morning, Rio Ferdinand.
Morning.
I think you could do a Strictly Dancing the Rumba, Rio Ferdinand. Sounds good, eh?
No.
Jermaine Jean is as well.
Morning, mate. You alright?
Yeah, very well. I bet you've seen some sights, John. You took me to see that big church.
That big church?
Yeah.
The Sagrada
Familia. That's the one, JJ.
Robbie Savage's World Cup Breakfast. Back Monday morning from 8:30.
On BBC Radio 5 Live.
We will continue to build up to Brazil against Switzerland. It kicks off in just 24 minutes' time. You'll be able to hear that here on 5 Live Sport. First, though, the result in the One Day Cup semi-final between Worcestershire and Kent. Let's hear from Kevin Howells.
A terrific game of knockout cricket. Kent have beaten Worcestershire by 2 wickets, 2 balls remaining, chasing 307 for victory. It came down to Kent needing 11 runs off the final over, 7 wickets down. It was bowled by the 19-year-old Pat Brown. The second ball of the over, Heine Kuhn, having already scored a 4th century in 5 games, struck a 6. Next ball caught at mid-wicket for 127, so 4 required off the final 3 balls, and Harry Podmore found the boundary for 4. With it, Kent's first Lord's final in 10 years. The experience of the visitors just too much in the end for the young, inexperienced Worcestershire to win the game, but it went very close.
And with news of the final day of action at the US Open, here's Ian Carter.
Tommy Fleetwood on the charge. 4 birdies in his first 7 holes have taken the Englishman to 5 over par. So playing the 8th, he's within 2 shots of the lead. Daniel Berger, Tony Finau, Brooks Koepka and Dustin Johnson, all 4 at 3 over par, 1 ahead of Justin Rose. The lead is out at 7:24 your time.
Live commentary from 5 Live from 9 o'clock tonight. Britain's Johanna Konta has lost in 3 sets in the Nottingham Open final against Australia's Ash Barty. Meanwhile, Britain's Dan Evans lost the men's final in straight sets to Alex de Minaur. Roger Federer beat Milos Raonic to win the Mercedes Cup in Stuttgart after more than 2 months out. England number 8, Billy Vunipola, is returning home from the tour of South Africa after refracturing his arm during the second test yesterday. And 2-time Formula One world champion Fernando Alonso won the Le Mans 24 hours at the first attempt.
5 Live Sport at the World Cup with Kelly Cates.
And we're about to see the first appearance of a side who were humbled the last time they appeared in the World Cup.
Germany have scored 7, and it is the heaviest defeat in Brazil's illustrious history on a night when the nation of Brazil is totally humiliated.
But Brazil are back. They're one of the favourites once more, and they begin their campaign for a 6th World Cup against Switzerland. Full commentary to come from 7. And then from 9, we'll take you to Shinnecock Hills for live coverage of the final round of the US Open. Get in touch with us over the next few hours using 85058 or hashtag BBC World Cup.
Live from Russia, this is 5 Live Sport with Kelly Cates.
Well, Alistair Bruce Ball and Chris Sutton are inside the stadium in Rostov. Tim Vickery, Terry Butcher and Danny Murphy also with us. But Alistair, in the stadium, odds on another upset a la Germany-Mexico.
Well, Switzerland is certainly going to be no pushover. I was just saying half an hour or so ago when we got the team news in, Brazil's run into this tournament has been nothing short of fantastic, brilliant in qualifying, just 1 defeat in 21 games. Switzerland actually go better than that because they are just 1 defeat in 22. And I know, Kelly, we've had 10 games so far of this World Cup. We're on to day 4. It started brilliantly, as Terry Butcher and Danny Murphy were just saying, in terms of the goals we've seen, the incidents we've had, the drama we've had. But to my mind, and just thinking back to my first World Cup, 1982, watching as a kid and seeing that Brazilian team come out in the yellow shirts with the green trim, and those yellow shirts absolutely dominate the Rostov arena here, it doesn't really get going until the team that is the greatest team in World Cup history come out and play their first game. We're lucky enough to be seeing that tonight. I think the news of the Germany defeat to Mexico still reverberating around this stadium. And team lineups, just to give you the headlines really, because both teams I think pretty much as expected. But Chiche, the Brazilian coach, has gone for Felipe Coutinho field ahead of more of a what shall I say, a busy midfield worker like Fernandinho, a little bit more creativity in there. Gabriel Jesus starts up front, Marcelo is the captain at left back, and Thiago Silva gets the nod at centre back over Marquinhos. And Switzerland, no surprises there either. All eyes on Xherdan Shaqiri, who's done very well for them at the big tournaments recently. Very solid, very well drilled, will be difficult to break down, but can they break Brazil down?
Chris, even just hearing the names in that Brazil side is exciting, but if they needed that extra tiny bit more focus, could the Germany defeat just spur them on a little bit more, just help their concentration slightly?
Well, we saw them getting off the bus, the Brazilian players and the Brazilian manager, and a lot of the players looked nervous and looked like they thought we have a job to do here. Other than Neymar, who was singing away, and Chichi, the manager, looked as cool as a cucumber, he did. But they have been so impressive in qualification, and it has been the Chichi effect since he has gone in. I think the players love him, and he's transformed this team. And we heard a big roar when the Brazilian players came out to warm up. I think that they expect this tournament, 2002, since they last won the World Cup. But the way they have defended in qualification, I think that gives them a real edge and a real chance of going all the way.
Our South American football expert Tim Vickery joins us now. Tim, we talked about Chiche there with Chris Sutton. Given what happened 4 years ago, how have Brazil turned it around to arrive on day 1 of their World Cup challenges as the favourites once again?
Because of the coach, because he has implanted a modern tactical idea of play. Brazil had become very isolated in terms of the way that they think about football, and football is continuously in evolution. If you're isolated, you are left behind. Or think of England in 1950. Think of even Argentina in 58, when they were out of world football in the 50s. They came back in 58 and had a rude awakening. And Brazil had become very mentally isolated. The revolution of Guardiola, if you like, in top-class European football had left them completely behind. And in that 7-1 is the story of Germany exuberantly passing the ball through Brazil's lines. Chichi, the key line, I think, from Brazil's qualification campaign is Chichi saying, I have learned how to learn. He hasn't worked in Europe, but he spent a lot of time over there really studying top-class European football. What of these concepts can I take back and implant in the Brazilian national team? And as a result, they are compact. They're compact in defence, harder to play through. They're also compact in attack. The man on the ball has a number of options there to give a pass, and so they're better in possession than a lot of Brazilian sides. Perhaps from even going back to 1982, the last time they really blew us apart with the quality of their football. There's something of that style and swagger about the Brazil that are about to take the field today against Switzerland.
How much has the squad evolved as well, Tim?
Well, it wasn't really a big case of changing names when Chichi came in. He made 2 changes in personnel. The side were in 6th place in World Cup qualification and in real danger of not qualifying. He came in with 2 changes. One was he recalled Paulinho, who was in China at the time. That was very controversial. It proved to be a masterstroke because Paulinho, if you're camped in the opposing half, he is wonderful at timing his run into the box. That's what he does well. And the other was centre-forward had been a problem for Brazil for some time. You remember Frege in the last World Cup. He took a gamble on a teenage centre-forward called Gabriel Jesus and was immediately rewarded. So more than changing the names, it's been a change of the idea of play and this modern tactical concept where they're compact, they've got the ball flying, they've got their confidence back, they've got their mojo back, they're full of style and swagger. But it's going to be very interesting against the Switzerland side, who are going to be difficult to break down. And we have this afternoon a really fascinating reunion. You know, there are so many games, but some games leave a mark. I'm going to take you back to the World Under-17 Cup in 2009. Brazil had a really hyped side, and they take these things very seriously. The attack was formed by Neymar, Felipe Coutinho. Also in the side were Casemiro, the holding midfielder, and Alisson, the goalkeeper. Their 3rd group game, they'd lost to Mexico. Their 3rd group game was against Switzerland. They had to win it. They lost 1-0. Neymar was taken off with 20 minutes to go. He was already a senior star in Brazilian club football at the time, but he couldn't buy a goal there at under-17 level. And it meant that Brazil crashed out of the competition early. 3 of that Swiss side are in the Swiss lineup now, 5 of the Brazilian side. But that game was very important because I think that game, it put back Neymar's move to Europe. He saw there that global football was harder than domestic Brazilian football, and it was another 4 years before he made the move to Europe. So it's a fascinating reunion. The Swiss have already stopped Neymar at under-17 level. Can they do it now, almost 9 years later, at senior level in the World Cup?
And of course, Danny Murphy, Neymar has developed so much. He's got his move into Europe. He's got his move to the big European leagues. He's played there. We've seen what he's capable of. We've seen Ronaldo star in this tournament, as we've talked about. We've seen Messi performing a below par performance for him, for Argentina. What are you expecting from Neymar tonight then?
Well, I'm a big fan of Neymar. I think when he's at his best, he's a wonderful football player. He's graceful, quick with the ball. It's effortless for him. He goes past people. His goal scoring record's fantastic for club and country. His end product's good. He's not just easy on the eye. He produces. I know he has had the injury, but he looks really sharp in the friendlies. And he's not exactly he's not the only one in that team who can produce magical moments. You know, you've got Coutinho and Willian as well. And he doesn't have to do it on his own. And I think he could have a great tournament. I really like the look of the Brazil side, actually. I think it's got a nice balance. The bench is strong. Douglas Costa, a wonderful player who can come on and change things. You've got Fernandinho, of course, who's probably been one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. Firmino. I mean, he must be a little bit disappointed, even though I am a big fan of Jesus. Just talking to Terry about him, I think he's a wonderful player. Jesus could go on to be one of the best strikers we've seen in a long, long time. So they've got lots of options and competition for places. I think they'll win comfortably tonight.
That trio, Terry, of Coutinho, Jesus, Neymar, I mean, that could be one of the most exciting.
Well, throw Willian in as well.
And Willian as well. Okay, the four then.
It is a four. It's a four.
Yeah. It could be one of the most exciting forward lines in the whole World Cup, couldn't it?
But it is.
If not the,
I think it is already. Yeah. But he's used to playing in a Fab Four, isn't he, Coutinho?
Yeah, well, that's
at Liverpool. So I think it's part of his international contract that he's got to have brilliant players up there with him. Wow. I mean, the Mouth Waters when you look at them. But they're up against a Switzerland team that's going to be quite rugged and strong, but they're not a bad outfit themselves. You know, they've got some good younger players in there, but they've got, you know, they can knock it about quite well. But they keep the ball well. They're hard to beat. They don't let in many goals. So with Brazil, pace is the key. Getting around the back, getting through. If they do park the bus, which I don't think they will do, but if they pack their defence and make it difficult, which you expect them to at times, then they have the guile, they have the quality, because that four is not going to stay rigidly in that shape. It's going to move about, and the movement will kill you, and it kills teams. Germany didn't have enough movement to it. There's one difference between Brazil and Germany's pace is in the right areas.
Emma says, from that lineup, expecting plenty of goals from Brazil, the Swiss goalie will be having nightmares about facing them. Peter said, Firmino on the bench for Brazil should be starting. What a season he's had for Liverpool. Mark says, though, this game has parallels with 2010 when Switzerland beat Spain in the group stages. I actually think the Swiss will beat Brazil 1-0. Mark, we may well come back to you on that one. What are the chances?
I remember that game well. They hung on for dear life. Spain absolutely dominated them, but listen, if Brazil score early, Switzerland always play the same way. They're quite negative. They're going to have to come out, and then they'll be in real trouble. I don't see with that quality, that the quality on the pitch for Brazil, looking against what they're up against Switzerland. I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Go on.
You're not going to see a shock here. You're not going to see a Mexico-Germany here. Not in a million years.
What do you think should happen for the competition, for the World Cup? A Brazil performance, a really good win for Brazil, or another win, say, for Switzerland, just like Mexico? What do you think?
I think we all. I think the majority want to see Brazil go and smash 5 or 6 and see wonderful goals and just see a real exhibition. That's what I think everyone wants to see.
Well, then I think if Switzerland
beat them, everyone's predictions are just going to be up in the air again.
I wonder what the bookies will make if Switzerland do beat. Who's going to be the favourites then? I think
there'll be huge odds to win this game.
Iceland will be favourites then? Croatia? No.
Yeah, Croatia.
Colombia, I think you'll find in the sweepstake. But look, Brazil is a cliche. It's true. A cliche to say it, of course, but Brazil always everybody's second team. They're always the team, as you say, that everybody wants to see performing like Brazil. Tim, if they are going to go in and put in a convincing performance, a convincing scoreline against a Switzerland side, as you say, that'll make it hard for them, how important is Jesus going to be, given the decision to play him or Firmino, and it's gone in his favour?
Well, that's an easy decision to make, because in the context of the Brazilian national team, he's done far, far better. And from the first game that Tite took over, he called him up as a teenager and he won the game in the last 20 minutes. And he combines very well with Neymar. But a key man for me to look at today is Coutinho, because this new magic quartet, they revealed it for the first time against Austria last Sunday. It was the first time that these four played together, and it means Coutinho playing as a genuine midfielder. He's got to get up and back. Now, he said last week that he was very, very tired at the end of that Austria game, and while it was 0-0, and Brazil were very impressive, but while it was 0-0, Austria had a chance. Your West Ham man Arnautovic, he put it over the bar, and that chance came because Coutinho, the cardinal sin of the midfielder, he didn't track his man, and Austria's right back was free to go to the byline and pull back. So Coutinho, playing in this system, he has to get up and back as a genuine midfielder, and whether he can do that not only in this game but also against the stronger sides later on, that's going to be a key factor to look at in Brazil's World Cup campaign.
And Brazil's World Cup campaign starts right now. It's against Switzerland, their first game of the World Cup 2018 here in Russia. To take you through all the events in this match from Rostov-on-Don, your commentary team of Chris Sutton and Alistair Bruce Ball.
Thank you, Kelly. You might be able to hear the loud pulse regularly beating in the background here inside the Rostov arena. Now that breaks in to a bit of belting music, two teams waiting inside the tunnel. Brazil looking ever so relaxed. Their skipper, Marcelo, with the wild, straggly hair, just closes his eyes, takes a deep breath, and gets ready to lead. The boys from Brazil out onto the pitch in Rostov. The two giant flags of the two nations stretched wide by the volunteers.